Welcome to Ground Zero Season 2, a show that brings you in-depth discussion ranging from politics, health, finance, sports, and so much more. Ground Zero Season 2. Welcome to Ground Zero Season 2, a show that brings you in-depth discussion ranging from politics, health, finance, sports, and so much more. Ground Zero Season 2. Welcome to Ground Zero Season 2, a show that brings you in-depth discussion ranging from politics, health, finance, sports, and so much more. Ground Zero Season 2. Welcome to Ground Zero Season 2, a show that brings you in-depth discussion ranging from politics, health, finance, sports, and so much more. Ground Zero Season 2. Welcome to Ground Zero Season 2, a show that brings you in-depth discussion ranging from politics, health, finance, sports, and so much more. Ground Zero Season 2. Welcome to Ground Zero Season 2, a show that brings you in-depth discussion ranging from politics, health, finance, sports, and so much more. Ground Zero Season 2. It's hot.
We busted. We didn't know exactly what the problem was on the ground. There is no pretending about the effect of this thing. There's no pretending about it. Nobody should. It's a problem.
It's balanced.
This is not the stage at which you start planning to tax a commodity like coffee, especially from down there.
It's intellectually engaging.
The Constitution provides that the land must be registered under the customer tenure system, which is one of those that's recognized by the Constitution.
Ground Zero Season 2, live and syndicated on your public and national broadcaster, UBC, inspiring Uganda. Welcome to Ground Zero Season 2, a show that brings you in-depth discussion ranging from politics, health, finance, sports, and so much more. Ground Zero Season 2. It's hot.
We busted. We didn't know exactly what the problem was on the ground. There is no pretending about the effect of this thing. There's no pretending about it. Nobody should. It's a problem.
It's balanced.
This is not the stage at which you start planning to tax a commodity like coffee, especially from down there.
It's intellectually engaging.
The Constitution provides that the land must be registered under the customer tenure system, which is one of those that's recognized by the Constitution.
Ground Zero Season 2, live and syndicated on your public and national broadcaster, UBC, inspiring Uganda. Welcome to Ground Zero Season 2, a show that brings you in-depth discussion ranging from politics, health, finance, sports, and so much more. Ground Zero Season 2. It's hot.
We busted. We didn't know exactly what the problem was on the ground. There is no pretending about the effect of this thing. There's no pretending about it. Nobody should. It's a problem.
It's balanced.
This is not the stage at which you start planning to tax a commodity like coffee, especially from down there.
It's intellectually engaging.
The Constitution provides that the land must be registered under the customer tenure system, which is one of those that's recognized by the Constitution.
Ground Zero Season 2, live and syndicated on your public and national broadcaster, UBC, inspiring Uganda. Welcome to Ground Zero Season 2, a show that brings you in-depth discussion ranging from politics, health, finance, sports, and so much more. Ground Zero Season 2.
Hello, dear listener. You're most welcome to this edition of Ground Zero. And for the first time, we are outside the studios of UBC at Nile Avenue, Nakasero Hill in Kampala. We are live and clear in Mbale City, Bugisu sub-region, which is part of the big eastern Uganda. Mpaire Amon Butega is my name, and as usual, the host of UBC Ground Zero. It is a big privilege and honor to be united with the people of Bugisu sub-region and the eastern part of this country. I therefore welcome you to this important town hall meeting. We are going to be having a dialogue of the Democratic Party by the President General and all the structures of DP and all the members, especially in Eastern Uganda and Bugisu sub-region. I'm going to be giving you all the details, but as I said, we are broadcasting live in Mbale City, and I must recommend the people of Mbale for the love and hospitality they have shown us. They are very good people. I like the weather, I like the food, and I'm assuring some people here that I'm taking enough food from here, and if possible, I would also take some people with me because of the love and hospitality they have really expressed. We bring greetings from UBC, management and team, and Mbale people, you have been part of us from the other side of radio. We have a radio station here called Butebo Radio. You love it and we love you too. And Ground Zero is always live on this very important radio, and we are also live and clear on Butebo Radio in Butebo and Eastern Uganda. Before we start officially with the party structures and party heads, we expect Honorable Norbert Mao, who is the President General of Democratic Party and Minister of Justice and Constitutional Affairs, and we also expect Honorable Mbide Mukasa, who is the Vice President of Democratic Party. And our topic today, in this edition of Ground Zero, we're going to be talking about dialogue for reconciliation and peaceful transition. For those who are still home and you would love to be part of us, just come straight through the Market Street to St. Austin Catholic Church. We are behind the church, and that's where the hall is. You can be part of this important conversation. I have a team here that they are going to introduce themselves and greet you, the people of Uganda, and welcome you to this edition of Ground Zero. Let me start with you, sir, on my left.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning, listeners. I am Rutagwera Herbert, the National Organizing Secretary of the Democratic Party and the organizer of this event today. Thank you.
Interesting. You, sir?
Utita Paul is my name. I am a member of the parliamentary group of Democratic Party. I'm privileged and humbled to be on this discussion or dialogue this morning. the interest of Masaba, I'll take an opportunity to address them in the language they do understand. Mwena yo mwesera Masaba, bali kuhorekelesa, Holiano St. Austin Hall, St. Austin Church Hall, Mbale, nga hulihutya hukanika hubindu bikali bibiyamba hwinambo lyefe Uganda, nga omukene omuhulu ulihutya huba Honorable Kasambidi. Kama sinakase naramile Utita Paulo, member wa parliamentary group of the Democratic Party.
Interesting. The lady.
Hello. Good morning, our dear listeners. Mwanyala nabiba Masaba mwesi nasimire huwa yingo. It has been a very long time. My name is Sarah Adong. I come from northern Uganda, West Nile, Zombo district. I am the vice president of the Women League of Democratic Party, national and international. I am so happy to be home. Mbale is home to me because, let me say, most of my life, I grew up here. I was born in Jinja, raised in Mbale. Before I went to Kampala and the other parts of the country, I went to Bumageni Barracks Primary School in Mbungoho sub-county along Tororo Road. And then I went to Mbale SS, the mighty school. Unfortunately, when my parents passed on, we had to relocate. But I'm just too happy to be home. Being a woman seated on the panel of 4 men, for me it's a privilege. Not so many women in this country have that vigor and the mantle, specifically to discuss about the issues, the eminent issues we are going to discuss here. As a member of the National Executive Committee, I have the mandate and the responsibility to make sure that our manifesto and the policies are implemented effectively, not just by talk, but practically. And that is why, dear moderator, I felt it was very vital for me to join the people of Bugisu and the surrounding areas, but most importantly, to give our mighty President General a very good company to come and explain to Ugandans what they really want to hear, especially when we're talking about the reconciliation as a very big subject in Uganda. Because what is happening in the country, for some of you who read a lot on social media, Twitter, WhatsApp, I'm a very good user of social media. Ugandans are so bitter, and it is only a Democratic Party that can discuss some of the way forwards. And for that matter, as women, we are the biggest shareholders, not stakeholders, quote my words, shareholders. Because when there is war, women are affected and children. Thank you.
Vamasaba Mwanyala Navi. I'm Sammy Gilbert Amado. I'm the Regional Vice President of the Democratic Party, Eastern Region. I'm a neighbor to Bugisu sub-region. I'm from Busia. And some time back, of course, I was also nurtured by Masaba because I spent here 3 years from 2000 to 2003 at IUIU. Ngabanjigiriza okubala sente zamwe. Thank you. Mbaniriza wano tutese ebinagasa Uganda eyo mu maaso. Thank you. You're welcome.
Interesting, you've heard from my panel, a very great and interesting panel. We are live in Mbale City, Eastern Uganda. Democratic Party says that Uganda has had unconstitutional changes of government 7 times in its short post-independence political history, with promises to revert its multi-party politics at each transition. And DP has on more than one occasion joined the ruling regimes to pressure change from within in the hope of joining the ruling regimes to pressure change from within to forge a sustainable political existence that serves all the people of Uganda. And this is one of the things that brings us here. Let's get into the details of this discussion, why we need the dialogue, why we need the reconciliation. Are we fighting as Ugandans that we need to reconcile? Is reconciliation the best way to bring peace and achieve national development? But also, is it one of the things that is hurting the people of Uganda? We have poverty, we have landslides, we have climate change, we have other issues. Why do we concentrate on this? And what is the purpose of this? Why is it taking Uganda as a country? How can we participate in this as the people of Uganda? But before we go into that, you only introduced yourselves. I would love to know the roles you play and how you are transforming the people of Uganda using your roles and positions, especially in the Democratic Party. Let me start with you, General Secretary. Organizing Secretary.
Thank you. As the organizing secretary, my major role is actually party building. And we in the Democratic Party believe that politics is competitive. And to be effectively competitive, you must be organized. So my major role is to have the party organized so that you can achieve these objectives as an organized institution.
Interesting. The parliamentary group. Are we benefiting from you?
You know very well that it is the legislative arm of this nation, Parliament. We enact laws. And the purpose of this dialogue, for example, in particular, is very important because laws, amateka, starts with the people themselves. It is not us, members who sit in the legislative assembly, make laws for the people down here. The reason as to why, for example, we are here, it's not Democratic Party as a party, it's not any other party, but it's all of us as Ugandans. We have been agitating for reforms. We need laws that suit our interest as Ugandans. They cut across social, economic, political. We had scenarios in the past. Why our people, why do we spend our money on buying tear gas? The same money of ours is injuring our people. So, we have a duty and a role, all of us, as Ugandans, particularly Bamasaba. Bamasaba, khwakhile khwaba atwela, khwekhala atwela, khwabaka kamakambila, khwamanya shina shesi khwikomba, as we Bamasaba. Then, the views and ideas of a common man on the ground is passed on to us. It is not necessarily an MP. That's why I was telling people, in Democratic Party, we have a parliamentary group. One would say, you're a member of parliament, representing which constituency? Because for us, we know that constituency has a name in parliament. No, as a party, Democratic Party, we form what we call parliamentary group, and in any partisan system of governance, political parties ideally offer alternative decision to the ruling party. So for us who are in the shadow of members of parliament, we sit down with the other members of parliament who are already elected and pass on our alternative resolution from the discussions that we are going to conduct and the whole. After talking to people, we get your views. What do people talk about, say, for example, transition? What do people talk about election? What do people talk about forming a new political party? We may even think of forming one political party in this region. But still, it has to come from the people who are the stakeholders. And should anything happen into law, it should emanate from the parliamentary group. So that is my duty, my role, and I encourage most of us who are going to be here to actively participate in the discussion of the livelihood of our people, particularly Bamasaba. Mwanyala.
Thank you, Honorable, and I'm glad that you're doing that. We must thank you for passing the other important bill. I'm talking about the bill, the homosexuality bill, and I believe that the people of Bugisu are happy also about that. Vice President, Women League, your role, how are women and the girl child benefiting from your leadership?
Wow, thank you so much, moderator. That is a very nice question. One of the roles of women, particularly the Women League and the position I stand in, I am not in this office alone, by the way. My president is on her way coming, Honorable Ajatarisha Waligo, and the rest of the members coming. First of all, our role is one, to encourage the women of Uganda to get interested in the politics and the policies of this country. I remember when I was introducing myself, I said, when there is war, the people who are affected more are women, because these are mothers of the world. Fathers go to battles, and then the women remain with the children. But are we going to leave women remain in the kitchen, just taking off children, and they're not bothered about the affairs and the policies of this government? No. So that is why, as the women of the Democratic Party in the Women's League, we said, one, how can we make these women interested in taking politics serious? There are so many challenges and impediments along the way that has discouraged so many of the women in this country for so long, so many years, from taking part into politics. If you do your research very well, you find that when a lady reaches 25 years old, 26, she gets off track and she's off politics. Why? Because perhaps in the various political organizations and the institutions they belong to, there are no policies on board that can help to bridge that gap and strengthen these women. As the Women League already of Democratic Party, we must say we are the most proud in this country and the safest environment you can ever have. One, we have policies that we worked on. The policy against sexual harassment, that is within our term. The policy, the gender policy, and this policy does not protect the women only, even the men, because we also want to know that there are women who perhaps out there could also be a culprit of perhaps breaking the law and also violating the rights of the other. Of late, we just passed out our policies. We have the charter, that is the constitution of the Women's League, fully fledged charter. Now, we said, you want to mobilize women to get interested. A woman in Elgon, she will ask herself, if I must belong to Democratic Party, what is that clean atmosphere to allow me to move freely, to allow me to speak, to allow me to talk about the issues pertaining Uganda without those impediments? We've talked about the patriarchal nature of our society, the sexual harassment issue. You've had in elections, the women complaining all over all political parties in Uganda, where if a woman is to get a ticket, something is saying something for something before I give you a ticket of a political party X. So for us as Democratic Party, we said no. We must set a precedent for the rest of the political parties. And 2 weeks ago, I must tell you here, Ugandans, that we received 4 political parties that visited us at Balintuma, our national campaign center in Kampala. They came to benchmark why is the Women League of Democratic Party thriving despite the challenges in the country. And we told them we had to make deliberate moves and coming out with the policies. Now, when you have policies in place, then the women and the girl child definitely will come on board. For instance, if someone is listening to Elgon right now, listening to UBC right now, and the person, a woman or a girl child, wants to make a political decision that I want to belong to a political party X, automatically someone is going to say, you know what, I'm going to Democratic Party, because the Women's League, together with the Mother Party, came out with the policies that creates the safe house for all these women. Those are the biggest roles that we have. Another role we have is mobilization. Of course, now when you have all these policies on board, you know, Sarah is safe, Annette is safe wherever she is, definitely you are going to mobilize. Because we all know very well that the biggest shareholders in this country are the young people and the women. When you go to elections, I contested for parliament in 2021. My victory was postponed. But I can assure you, on the election day, colleagues here in studio.
Postponed or defeated?
No, postponed. I was not defeated. That one is a subject for another day.
Indeed.
Yes, it was postponed. So I can assure you, on that election day, 90% of the voters who went to queue very early in the morning to cast their votes to different candidates in this country were women. So now, if these women can toil in Elgon, in Kapchora, in Zombo, in where? Kabale, why won't you create a safe space for them? You understand? So for us as Democratic Party and the Women's League, that is what we opted. We said, okay, fine. Now, later on, I know we are going to have a very big subject we're going to discuss about here. But all this discussion about a peaceful transition, peaceful what, cannot emanate into the brains of Ugandans and cannot interest a common creature called a woman or a girl child unless she has a safe space. You understand? So for us as Democratic Party and the Women's League, that is what we stand for, and those are our basic roles. To see that the women of Uganda get interested in the party politics, not on a Democratic Party, but getting to know, as a woman who is digging coffee, because I know in Elgon here, the major cash crop is coffee, and these women are farmers. So how is this woman going to sit in a town hall to urge about the cash prices when she is not interested? She is not given that free atmosphere. And we are doing this because we want even the ruling government, the NRM, should do the same thing. Even the other political parties must give space for these women to shine out. Thank you.
Interesting. Jalpat?
Yes, please. Listeners, as I said, my name is Sammy Gilbert, the Regional Vice President of the Democratic Party. Basically,
is the DP benefiting from you in this region?
Of course, you know, DP is the mother of politics in this country. When you are giving a preamble, you spoke of DP working with other political parties right from pre-independence up to now. But of course, we do believe that every person could have been a DP because we are all unified by one factor, and that's a whole. In that respect, we as the top leadership of the party, we have to come up with a think tank that develops policies that are aligned to the aspirations of the nation. And in that responsibility, we must think ahead of other political parties, because we do believe that the leadership, which is not us, of course, could have turned against the citizenry at a time we felt they should be patriotic. And in my opinion, I do believe that probably our leaders have waged a war against the citizenry of this country. And in that respect, we have to look at what the citizenry is speaking. We have to find a synergy. Where do we meet and discuss as nationals, and we develop policies that will benefit the citizenry, as I said. So, in brief, as the Vice President of the Democratic Party, our role basically is to develop policies. We sell to the citizenry, they ratify, and we advance them. We advance this through the parliamentary forum, as I said. We advance them as alternative policies to the ruling government if it's there. We also advance them through other organs of leadership, maybe at local government, and also what we are doing today is in the right place. For instance, we are here for dialogue. We are here for reconciliation. We are here for an electoral reform. We do believe, as you asked, that there are some other important factors, climate change, blah, blah, as you said. We do believe that those could have been sort of long ago if the constitution was put right. I do think that the problems Ugandans are having today is a departure from what Ugandans wanted when they were building this constitution in 1995. So it's our cardinal duty, we as the leadership of the party, who are thinking rightly for Ugandans, to bring back Uganda to the Uganda we want. Basically, that's what I do.
Interesting. Our dear listener, this is a special broadcast of Ground Zero. We are outside UBC studios from Kampala. We are broadcasting live in Mbale City, in Bugisu sub-region, eastern Uganda. Our frequencies is UBC Radio. We are 98.0 FM in all parts of this country. We are also live and clear on Butebo FM. If you are in Mbale, we are 98.9 FM. If you are in Soroti, we are 98.6 FM. And if you are in Jinja, we are on 97.5 FM. And we're also live on Magic 100 FM in the central parts of this country. As you've heard from the guests that I have here, very big people playing different roles. Organizing secretary. How important is this day to the people of Bugisu and Eastern region? Why did you have to choose this place and this region for this important occasion?
Thank you very much. This occasion is actually supposed to be replicated in all regions of the country. But I would say that fortunately, we have started with the Bugisu sub-region. I want to first give you a little bit of background about the Democratic Party itself. The Democratic Party is an old party formed in 1954. The Democratic Party has seen it all and has been there at every turn you mentioned. And the Democratic Party has played a key and important role at every turn of governments in this country. The Democratic Party, I would say, has basically three core objectives. One, rule of law and human rights. Two, equal opportunity for all. And three, an honest government. But today, we are here to talk about dialogue, reconciliation, and peaceful transition. But the background of this discussion is the signing of a cooperation agreement between the National Resistance Movement, and the Democratic Party. Many people have decided to give narratives.
And I give up also on DP.
Maybe. They have given narratives the way maybe they want the population to understand the background to this agreement. But I just want to make a few clarifications. One, this agreement is not open-ended. It has a lifespan. And the lifespan is between the time it was signed last year, around August, July, up to the end of this parliamentary term. Two, this agreement is actually, when you are talking about political relationships, this relationship is actually at the bottom of any kind of political relationship. There are mergers, there are alliances, but this one is a cooperation agreement. Meaning that the Democratic Party and the NRM have some basic issues they have agreed to work upon. Which are these issues? There are only 4 issues that the Democratic Party and the National Resistance Movement have agreed to work upon. One is national dialogue and reconciliation as an objective. 2, electoral reforms. 3, constitutional reforms. Now, these 3 actually lead to the 4th, which is peaceful transition. As you are opening up, you mentioned that we have had 7 changes of governments in this country. And every change has actually had a negative impact, at least on some part of this country. So to the Democratic Party, it is very important that we must sit down, dialogue, and reconcile. It is very important that we must have a legal framework to govern our electoral system that will not cause the kind of changes we have undergone. It is key to the Democratic Party that maybe we also need to discuss about the Constitution. Maybe there are some areas in the Constitution that don't favor peaceful change of governments. And of course, it is the dream of the Democratic Party to have a peaceful transition of power, a peaceful power change. The other narrative that has been put out there is that the President General of the Democratic Party has joined the National Resistance Movement. I want to put it categorically clear that the President of the Democratic Party has not joined the National Resistance Movement. The President General of the Democratic Party is a tool. Like now, I want to amplify my voice. I have a microphone. So I need a tool to implement, to do something. So to implement and realize the objectives of the agreement we have signed, our President General is a tool working as a Minister of Justice. Because if you look at all the things we talked about, they can actually be articulated or put in place through that docket. So he's there to ensure that as the Democratic Party, we have a stake in the governance of this country, and we have influence so that we can cause changes to bring about those 4 objectives I have mentioned earlier. So this agreement is actually not to benefit the Democratic Party as the Democratic Party, nor is it to benefit the National Resistance Movement as the National Resistance Movement. But as usual, the Democratic Party has been there, available at every turn of government. And we believe that this one is also timely.
If you are saying that it is working and benefiting for the NRM,
Not.
to me, I may think that you are working for the NRM.
No, that was my exact point.
Mm.
The objectives in this agreement,
it favors who?
Are dreams of the Democratic Party. And the Democratic Party actually wants the fruits to be reaped by Ugandans. So it favors the country.
The cooperation favors the people of Uganda.
Uganda.
Not the NRM.
Not the NRM. No,
not the DP.
Fortunately, the NRM and the DP are the people of Uganda. So this is something we are doing for the good of this country, not our own selfish, good. So that's why we have this agreement.
Why did it have to spark a war? Is it that the people of Uganda did not understand basically what was the cooperation about?
Exactly. And that is the exact point we are here today, to get Ugandans to understand that this cooperation agreement is for them. It doesn't give, let's say, the Democratic Party any electoral advantage, no. But it is an agreement that will serve the betterment of this country and all Ugandans.
All right. Honorable, the dialogue.
The dialogue.
Organizing Secretary says, Mr. Paul says that the cooperation is to help the people of Uganda, but the reason as to why we are not comfortable with this agreement and the cooperation, we have not understood it. That's why we have come up with the dialogue. Is it the best way to make the people of Uganda comfortably take in and understand this cooperation?
Well, in the first case, there is a cooperation anyway. One time there was earth, and the earth was formed. So we cannot go back. Let's make the earth. So the cooperation, whether you or I was a party, the cooperation is there. So what is important now is basically for all to understand what does the cooperation mean. Unfortunately, you know, when we are making some of these policies, there are those policies that originate from bottom up, and there are those that originate from up bottom, like this in case. Like any other bills, cabinet sits, comes up with a bill, presents it to Parliament, Parliament debates it, comes to get views from the locals, pass it into a law. There are those that we can originate from down here. A private member brings that bill, that idea to Parliament, it goes up. Now, with the cooperation agreement, it is an idea or a policy that originated from the principles. The principle of the Democratic Party, that is the President General, as a Ugandan, President Museveni, as a Ugandan, and any other Ugandans as inclusive, we thought that there are certain things that honestly need to be addressed, because we all use taxpayers' money, whether you're an NRM, whether you are in opposition party. And one of those things are, for example, It is absolutely useless not to make roads. It is absolutely useless not to put drugs in hospitals, and you spend a very heavy budget on buying tear gas. And which tear gas is very costly, and we just misuse it by chasing fellow Ugandans. So, all the principals said, not me, I wasn't part of it, and that's why we are waiting for the principal to further explain. They thought, why don't we cooperate and work on ideal issues that benefit all of us? Particularly, you asked a very good question, that this particular meeting, of what benefit is it to the people of Bamasaba when we discuss this kind of thing? At the end of the day, we expect to come out of, you see, we've had elections over and over. You find a member of parliament from one political party develops a lot of hatred from a colleague from another political party, not knowing these are games that comes and go. We even at times leave resourceful persons just by virtue that they're in the wrong political parties. Just a party is a party. It is just a name. It is by virtue that I am a Ugandan. I could have been an American, but still I remain a Uganda. I remain a human being. Whether you're Obama in the US, whether I am Paul in Uganda, we are all human beings. Now that is actually, that is what we forget. When we discuss this cooperation, these Ugandans, these brothers of ours from a mass political party, which is NRM, will end up coming to appreciate that the brothers in the Democratic Party equally have good ideas. And I think the next elections, when we vote Paul from Democratic Party, can add on value in the Bugisu than having a mere NRM who may not add value. I'm not saying they don't add value, but we have such incidences. So the cooperation is basically, it's there to be used as a tool, like he has said, to address pertinent issues that Ugandans need to see. What type of Uganda do we need to live in? Do we need just to keep on wasting money and resources and fighting each other? Or we need to address issues that are pertinent to Ugandans? Why would you deny my son or my daughter or my child a job just because he's opposing you? And yet he's resourceful, he's educated on resources of this country, and he can offer better services. But just because of those political affiliation, they put everybody. You move left and right. So we do believe that honestly, the ruling government should appreciate that as DP and maybe any other political party, nabo baleseke tafali in the development of this country. They must welcome the idea. We must work together. We must develop this country. Uganda is for all of us. We are not there as people think we are joining NRM. No, it's not to join the NRM, but I can work for NRM for the betterment of this country.
All right, interesting. UBC Ground Zero, we're broadcasting live from Mbale City in the Bugisu sub-region, eastern part of this country. And we are live on 4 radio stations, UBC Radio on 98.0 FM, covering most parts of this country. We are live and clear on Butebo FM. If you are in Mbale, we are 98.9 FM. If you are in Soroti, we are 98.6 FM. And if you are in Jinja, we are 97.5 FM. And we are also live and clear on Magic 100 FM, covering central parts of this country. Mbale Amon Butega is my name, and who is still at home and you'd love to be part of this important conversation, come through the Market Street and come straight to St. Austin Catholic Church. We are behind the church where the St. Austin Hall is. My first panel, I have Rutaguera Habat, is the organizing secretary, Democratic Party. I have Butita Paul, is the member of parliament, parliamentary group of Democratic Party. I have Sarah Adong, is the vice president of Women League, Democratic Party. She says she's representing the women, national and international. I like that. And I also have Sammy Gilbert, is the regional vice president, Eastern region. Is the man hosting us in his region. Controversial issues, the agreement, the cooperation. The president has betrayed us. Where did this leave the Eastern region before I come to women?
Clarify, who says that one has been betrayed? Who?
Most Ugandans.
Well,
we need to clarify that. That's why we're here to educate people, to educate those who are lost.
Well, you see, every person is entitled to an opinion.
Indeed. And it is our noble role to also direct those who are lost.
And actually, I should also remind you that the Constitution of the Republic of Uganda gives every person an opportunity to speak, much as it doesn't guarantee that safety after speaking. I just wanted to remind you as a journalist.
Are you sure when you speak, you are not
there's freedom of
guaranteed
speech,
the right
but I don't know
after
whether
the
there's
speech?
freedom after speech. But so, with the Eastern region,
at UBC you have that right, I believe.
as she said earlier, it's a topic for another day.
Indeed.
Well, it's a perception that has been going around by either those who don't understand what we are doing, or, as I earlier said, that there are some leaders who have decided to be unpatriotic at the time we wanted them to be patriotic. And I emphasized by saying that it's like, and actually in my opinion, they have waged a war against Ugandans. So for those who understand the fruits of this cooperation agreement and go around blackmailing it, are those people who are waging a war against Ugandans. Because this is a fruit for Ugandans, as the National Organizing Secretary put it right. The reason as to why we are here is to ground the four main issues in the cooperation agreement. And I want to put it clear that we are not working for NRM, neither do we work with NRM, but we are trying to advise the NRM where it went wrong. Actually, she has just told me that we are reminding them. I'm one person who believes that the sitting government, of course I cannot say that probably it has done nothing, but it could have done so many things in negative. Once back home, people tell me that what NRM does, and it profits Ugandans, they do it by mistake. They intend to do wrong things to this country. And it's very unfortunate, I said I'm from Busia, that most of the leaders, and actually probably all, who left this country when we had not grounded this issue of a peaceful transition, were passing through Busia. Even, I mean, he might have gone through to the north, but he first stopped over Busia. And you know, in the past, we used to have a single wooden gate that closes Kenya and Uganda. But these days we have 4 steel gates. One for URA, then the main gate at the so-called immigrant, I mean, We used to call it no man's land, which is no longer there, and other two gates across the other side. We are tired of seeing leaders leaving this country. And maybe there's something we didn't tell you, that DP is the only party that handed over power peacefully to an incoming leader of this nation, and that was Benedicto Chwanuka, who handed over to Obote peacefully for the only time we were in government, 9 to 11 months. We want this to come back. That's the reason as to why we are here. So as I said, that probably, as you also probably, you heard it wrongly, that Eastern region was probably not embracing this. Probably it was true because they were not understanding it, but we are here to ground it. We are tired of seeing bloodshed in this country. We are tired, as she said, seeing our mothers being left behind. We are tired of other Ugandans being seen as second and third class citizens of this country. We are all equal. And that's why here today, we members of the Democratic Party are here to front an agenda to Ugandans, not to DP, not to NRMs, not to Catholic, not to Protestants, not to the Gishus, not to the Samias like me, but Ugandans. I said, let's look for synergy. We are here to identify where did we go wrong. What is our departure? How can we come back? Put all hands on the deck to fashion a country that benefits all of us as Ugandans. So for those probably who are not understanding, actually you should just tune in. You already, I don't know the frequency, probably you read it to them. Others should be coming here. That we share. We tell them what the cooperation agreement is all about. They also advise us. Because actually, when we leave this probably to the legislators, I may not, I'm not good at using good words at times. I wouldn't love to use the word at times they are compromised, but at times it cannot escape my tongue. At times I use it. Because we had a scenario where we had a very good program, and it was dubbed Koji Kwatako. It was a constitutional right, and of course it has to be amended in the Constitution. But when we roll out that program, where we wanted to maintain the age-limited term, some people moved around. They started disorganizing Ugandans with the advancing Article 26, property to own, freedom to own property. They brought up the dandy issue. And you find that the whole thing was duped. But why did we think about it? We said that yes, these other issues can remain pending, but when we curtail the leadership of someone else, these other issues can be addressed at time T. Because now look, I just want to imagine a scenario where we maintain what was passed in Parliament in the Koji Kwatako, that someone can remain aspiring for presidency until probably God calls him. That is true. But maybe Museveni is a very good leader, and I know probably at times he listens. But what if Museveni probably so retires, or he's retired? And we get Gilbert Oroyu, who is not as good as Museveni, but you are being defended by this constitution, which one gives you powers to appoint the head of the judiciary and the entire judicial team, to appoint the electoral commission, the police officers, you appoint each and everything you want. You amass power against yourself. What type of leader? If you have an element of autocracy and leadership, what type of leader will you be? So we look at things in advance. DP is a party that projects what could happen in the future. It looks in advance and it brings it to the citizen. But of course, some people don't understand it. But we are there, we are sacrificing. Like Moses, who sacrificed his life to deliver the sons of Israel from Egypt, much as he didn't reach Canaan, but at least they were delivered. So we do believe that if we embrace this so-called cooperation agreement, as they call it, the 4 principles. Of course, we are cooperating with NRM on the 4 principles, not on these other principles of stealing Mabati, not on these other principles of denying my son a job because he doesn't look good. We are not advancing patronage. We don't want leaders who are appointed leaders at personal level, but we deeply believe in institutional building. We don't believe in individualism. So At time T, as the North said, you will see the fruits of this thing. And I'm very certain that today, this engagement we are having today is going to be fruitful, and the people of Elgon Zone will appreciate at time T. But for those who don't want to appreciate, they are an equivalent of those who don't eat food from the garden, as I said earlier. Because at least every person I do believe in this garden eats food from the garden. And that garden is the whole. I always say that whether you try to dodge DP, whether you claim to be supernatural, a super ayatollah, at least a whole will escort you on the last day when God kills. So you can't dodge, you cannot differentiate yourself from DP. DP is for Ugandans, and DP is to put things right, no matter whether we are in power or not. Thank you.
DP is always right, as Gilbert said. Before I get the Vice President on the Women League, since that we're out of studios of UBC, we may not get calls for those who want to be part of this conversation, but you can send us your messages or WhatsApp messages on 0756 33 61 12. That is Airtel, 0756 336 112. MTN is 0776 24 26 and 47. These numbers are only for SMS and WhatsApp. Don't call on these very numbers, and they are only for this event because we are outside the studios. We are live and clear on 4 radio stations: UBC Radio 98.0 FM covering entire Uganda. We are also on Butebo Radio. If you're in Mbale, we are 98.9 FM. If you're in Soroti, we are 98.6 FM. If you're in Jinja, we are 97.5 FM. And we are also on Magic 100 FM. Adon, where did this cooperation leave the women? Was it a shock? Was it a surprise? Was it a blessing or a disguise?
You know why I'm laughing? Because I was part of the National Executive Committee that sat at a Sela Hotel and came out with the key objectives that we want to achieve as the Democratic Party. That whether we're in government or we are not in government, there are particular things that we want to achieve. And those are the 4 key areas we're talking about. The reconciliation, the human rights, the dialogue, and of course, DP also wanting to get into power. You see, gentlemen and ladies who are listening to us right now, you cannot say you want to go and wed unless you have prepared very well for the sacrament of marriage. Gilbert, here you're a Catholic, and I believe most of us here are Christians. We know that. The sacrament of marriage needs clear preparation of the bedrock. If you prepare very well, then now you can think of getting there. What am I saying? We are not made for a season. We are made for a reason as the Democratic Party. As the National Executive Committee, we are the topmost organ of the party. We sit down. The cooperation agreement that was signed was not an idea that was manufactured by Honorable Norbert Mao. No. It was from us, the members. It was from us, the members of NEC, that sat down and said, guys, look, this is what we want to achieve. We are looking at the future of Uganda. NRM government, for crying out loud, has been in power for more than 35 years now. But if you're wise enough, if you're really wise enough and you're following the trends and patterns, if you're wise enough and following the trends and patterns of politics in this country right now, I do not want to bury my head as a daughter of this nation and say things are fine. Things are not fine. And if your house is burning, you've set your house on fire, or there's a fire in your house, are you going to run away from the house because it's burning? No. You, the owner of the house, has to sit down to see that you seize that fire from perhaps erupting to the neighborhood and destroying maybe properties and the rest. So, as the Democratic Party, we sat and we said, me as a mother, me, I'm a mother of 2 children, a boy and a girl, and their father is a Ugandan. We are Ugandan summarized, let me say. So we are like, okay, what if President Yoweri Museveni, God forbid, right now, things not happen the way we are, where is the future of our country? Where each and every person is speaking about their personal interests, not the interests of Ugandans. And I speak this so emotionally because I come from a region of this country that was in war for almost 20 years. I lost relatives. My own father was an army officer. He served here in Mbale. At some point, he was transferred to northern Uganda to go and fight the LRA war. Thank God he did not die there, but he was shot, trying to restore peace in that northern part of this country. So after seeing all these series, and I saw how my relatives, children were adopted from school, women becoming widows, husbands becoming widowers, you understand? And then I'm like, I sat down and reflected. As a leader, as a young woman in this country, what do I want? And I said, no, we must make a decision together with Ugandans, and you see that we take this country forward, and this is why we are here. So this cooperation agreement does not leave any woman behind. We are part and parcel of this cooperation agreement. I also want to put it very categorically clear here. Politics in Uganda has been polarized. Yeah? Or it has been secularized. Everyone wakes up in the morning and says, Oyo Mutumbav, I'm sorry to use this language, because that is what they use. I told you I love social media so much, especially Twitter and Facebook. Abo bajega, tebaina byamakulu, tebaina byatugamba, abo basiru, simanyi bichi bichi, some of the languages that you not want, to the extent of a Ugandan wanting a fellow Ugandan to die, just because you hear, okay, you disagree with Amon has overstayed in power. You know, I'm using you as an example because we're in studio. You've overstayed in power, so God forbid something happens, and then they say, I wish he dies. Have we reached that level? Where is the Ugandanness? If you look at me here, I have a wristband here. Black, yellow, red. This is my blood. I move everyone and tell people, look, everything you're doing is about us Ugandans. So if we destroy this mother nation, the generation coming behind, where are they going to benefit? Libya wanted a forceful change. I normally use Libya so much because up to now Libya is bleeding. Now, after wanting that forceful change, yes, Gaddafi died, he went. They had the change they wanted. But is Libya the same? Libya? No. Now, for us as Democratic Party, we're saying no. We are benchmarking. What happened in Libya, we do not want it to happen in our country. We can sit as gentlemen and ladies of different political entities, different ethnicity background, and say Uganda first. See what the Kenyans have achieved. They have a slogan called Kenya Kwanza. Sio kwani kama Kenya ni kwanza. How about Uganda? Can't Uganda be Uganda Kwanza? So that is, we took a risk. In business, you take risks. You're going to do business, you don't know where they're going to make profits. But you say, no, he's a businessman. He comes from Busia. He's also a businessman. You say, okay, fine. Me, I am injecting in this amount of money and have this business. But at the back of your mind, you know you could make losses or profits. But you say, no, let me take the risk. Now, as Democratic Party, we have accepted we are the Jesus Christ of this nation. We have allowed to be insulted. We've seen people say we've eaten money with the President Museveni. We've done what? In fact, if this cooperation agreement was about DP, all of us here would be in cabinet today. All of us would be having various government jobs, creative jobs, but we are hustling, by the way, like another Ugandan. We are hustling. But that is the price we have decided to pay for peaceful transition in this country. At the end of it all, I want Ugandans to really reflect. Do we have to go and shed blood again? For me and Sarah from North, I'm not ready. Because already I lost relatives. Many, I can't even count. So, me, I cannot. Me, even if you tell me right now that there is war in Uganda, that me, I can't pick a gun, I can tell you that me, I am not going to do that because I have seen my relatives die, I have buried them. There are people who come from these parts of this country who don't even know what a gunshot is. And someone says, Oba Museveni agenda, aja agenda, Oba genza tutia, I know kugenda, Oba Uganda bleeding. Oh God, for crying out loud, you're talking, you're from Central Region. You do not know what the Alurus and Cholis and the rest went through. So now, me, I am speaking. I want the Ugandan to feel the pain we felt. And you're telling me, we go and fight take it to the streets? No. Dialogue is the best. We know we might not reap the fruits as Democratic Party or maybe to be in power after this whole journey. But for us, our interest is one, have a safe place for mothers, for boys, for our sons and grandsons and the rest. And that is what we want here in this country. So I think that's what I wanted to highlight about. Thank you.
Interesting. We're having good discussion here in Mbale. We are broadcasting live in Mbale City. This is UBC Ground Zero, and for the first time we are out of UBC premises and UBC studios at Nile Avenue, Nakasero Hill in Kampala. We are broadcasting live on 4 radio stations, UBC Radio 98.0 FM. We are also live on Western Nile FM, covering Western Nile sub-region, Lango and Achol sub-regions, Teso and part of Karamoja sub-regions. We are also live and clear on Butebo, the popular radio station in eastern Uganda, if I'm right. If you're in Mbale, we are 98.9 FM. If you're in Soroti, we are 98.6 FM. If you're in Jinja, we are 97.5 FM. And we're also broadcasting live on Match 100 FM, covering central parts of this country. I said the numbers that I were reading are for messages only, but I've seen some people starting to call, but you can only send the message or WhatsApp. If you are sending WhatsApp, it is 0756 336112. If you are sending a message, it is 0776 24 26 47. We are going for a very short break, and we are turning back in a few minutes. I pray that you don't have to go away, as we are waiting for the President General, Honorable Norbert Mao, to be part of our conversation and to keep this dialogue. We are in Mbale for a dialogue. This is UBC. Keep tuning in. We keep inspiring Uganda. Away.
This is Ground Zero Season 2. Stay tuned. We shall be right back.
At UBC Radio, all our radio network across the country is committed to inform, entertain, educate and guide for national transformation.
Our own radio, UBC, should set its own example. Leka bano abatafa ku bantu baffe bagumaza ndowooza muganda kito kugumaza to divert people. Let our own UBC bring programs to educate the people so that abagala kugumaza babeereyo bagumaza naye naffe they can advise, guide. And people in time will judge the one who is their friend and who is just using them.
Tune into UBC radios for credible socio-economic programs. UBC, inspiring Uganda.
This is Independent Sound.
UBC has 11 sister radio stations spread throughout the country to educate, inform, and entertain. Tune in to UBC Radio FM 98, your national radio station, Magic 100, where sports and music is our life. 87.5 Star FM in Uganda, 97.4 UBC West covering Western Uganda, 102 Mega FM in Gulu, 97 FM Butebo Radio in Eastern Uganda, 107.0 Buduri FM, 100.5 Ngea FM in Kasese, 98.0 West Nile FM in Arua, Totore Radio FM 90 in Karamoja, and 93.0 Voice of Mundbujo. Now you're covered in your local language. UBC Radios, inspiring Uganda.
It's hot.
We passed it. We didn't know exactly what the problem was on the ground. There is no pretending about the effect of this thing. There's no pretending about it. Nobody showed. It's a problem.
It's balanced.
This is not the stage at which you start planning to tax a commodity like coffee, especially from down there.
It's intellectually engaging.
The Constitution provides that the land must be registered under the customer tenure system, which is one of those that's recognized by the Constitution.
Ground Zero Season 2, live and syndicated on your public and national broadcaster, UBC, inspiring Uganda.
At UBC Radio, All our radio network across the country is committed to inform, entertain, educate and guide for national transformation.
Our own radio, UBC, should set its own example. Leka bano abatafa ku bantu baffe bagumaza ndowooza Muganda kitwa kugumaza to divert people. Let our own UBC bring programs to educate the people so that abagala kugumaza babeereyo bagumaza naye naffe they can advise, guide. And people in time will judge the one who is their friend and who is just using them.
Tune into UBC radios for credible socio-economic programs. UBC, inspiring Uganda.
This is Independent Sound.
UBC has 11 sister radio stations spread throughout the country to educate, inform, and entertain. Tune in to UBC Radio FM 98, your national radio station, Magic 100, where sports and music is our life. 87.5 Star FM in Uganda. 97.4 UBC West covering Western Uganda. 102 Mega FM in Gulu. 97 FM Butebo Radio in Eastern Uganda. 107.0 Bududi FM. 100.5 Ngea FM in Kasese, 98.0 West Nile FM in Arua, Total Ray Radio FM 90 in Karamoja, and 93.0 Voice of Mundbujo. Now you're covered in your local language.
UBC Radios, inspiring Uganda. It's hot.
We passed it. We didn't know exactly what the problem was on the ground. There is no pretending about the effect of this thing. There's no pretending about it. Nobody showed. It's a problem.
It's balanced.
This is not the stage at which you start planning to tax a commodity like coffee, especially from down there.
It's intellectually engaging.
The Constitution provides that the land must be registered under the customer tenure system, which is one of those that's recognized by the Constitution.
Ground Zero Season 2, live and syndicated on your public and national broadcaster. UBC, inspiring Uganda.
At UBC Radio, all our radio network across the country is committed to inform, entertain, educate and guide for national transformation.
Our own radio, UBC, should set its own example. Leka bano abatafa ku bantu baffe bagumaza ndowooza Muganda kitwa kugumaza to divert people. Let our own UBC bring programs to educate the people so that abagala kugumaza babeereyo bagumaza naye naffe they can advise, guide. And people in time will judge the one who is their friend and who is just using them.
Tune into UBC radios for credible socio-economic programs. UBC, inspiring Uganda.
This is Independent Sound.
UBC has 11 sister radio stations spread throughout the country to educate, inform, and entertain. Tune in to UBC Radio FM 98, your national radio station, Magic 100, where sports and music is our life. 87.5 Star FM in Uganda. 97.4 UBC West covering Western Uganda. 102 Mega FM in Gulu. 97 FM Butebo Radio in Eastern Uganda. 107.0 Bududi FM. 100.5 Ngea FM in Kasese, 98.0 West Nile FM in Arua, Total Ray Radio FM 90 in Karamoja, and 93.0 Voice of Mundbujo. Now you're covered in your local language.
UBC Radios, inspiring Uganda. It's hot.
We passed it. We didn't know exactly what the problem was on the ground. There is no pretending about the effect of this thing. There's no pretending about it. Nobody showed. It's a problem.
It's balanced.
This is not the stage at which you start planning to tax a commodity like coffee, especially from down there.
It's intellectually engaging.
The Constitution provides that the land must be registered under the customer tenure system, which is one of those that's recognized by the Constitution.
Ground Zero Season 2, live and syndicated on your public and national broadcaster. UBC, inspiring Uganda.
At UBC Radio, all our radio network across the country is committed to inform, entertain, educate and guide for national transformation.
Our own radio, UBC, should set its own example. Leka bano abatafa ku bantu baffe bagumaza ndowooza muganda kito kugumaza to divert people. Let our own UBC bring programs to educate the people so that abagala kugumaza babeereyo bagumaza naye naffe they can advise, guide. And people in time will judge the one who is their friend and who is just using them.
Tune into UBC radios for credible socio-economic programs. UBC, inspiring Uganda.
This is Independent Sound.
UBC has 11 sister radio stations spread throughout the country to educate, inform, and entertain. Tune into UBC Radio FM 98, your national radio station, Magic 100, where sports and music is our life. 87.5 Star FM in Uganda. 97.4 UBC West, covering Western Uganda. 102 Mega FM in Gulu. 97 FM Butebo Radio in Eastern Uganda. 107.0 Bududi FM. 100.5 Ngea FM in Kasese, 98.0 West Nile FM in Arua, Total Ray Radio FM 90 in Karamoja, and 93.0 Voice of Mundbujo. Now you're covered in your local language.
UBC Radios, inspiring Uganda. Welcome back. Ground Zero Season 2 continues.
Welcome back from that very short break. This is UBC Ground Zero. We're broadcasting live from Mbale City. We are outside UBC studios in Kampala, Nile Avenue. And we have been given a warm welcome here in Mbale, Bugisu sub-region, Eastern Uganda. We are having a very important town hall meeting where Democratic Party is educating the people of Uganda on a number of issues. We are live on 4 radio stations, UBC Radio on 98.0 FM, covering all parts of this country. We are live on Butebo FM. If you're in Mbale, we are 98.9 FM. If you're in Soroti, we are 98.6 FM. If you're in Jinja, we are on 97.5 FM. And we're also live and clear on West Nile FM on 98.0 FM, covering all parts of West Nile. And we're also live and clear on Magic 100 FM. Ampaire Amon Butega is my name, and we're having a town hall meeting of Democratic Party. And our topic is Dialogue for Reconciliation and Peaceful Transition. In our first set of discussion, I'm privileged and honored to have important guests. Tagwero Habat is the organizing secretary, Democratic Party. I have Butita Paul is the member of Parliament of Parliamentary Group, Democratic Party, and Sarah Adong is the vice president, Women League, Democratic Party, and of course our host, Sami Gilbert, is the regional vice president, Eastern Region, Uganda. The numbers to send your messages are 0756-336112, or send your message to an MTN line 0776-242647. I said we cannot pick your calls because we are outside the studios. We can only read your messages. I have a message, and please, when you send a message, remember to put your name. Someone says, I am a DP, but what that woman has spoken has made me to leave. Let her go and cook. Just waiting time. Just waiting for that time, she's talking. Keep your messages brief, and always remember to put your name, and if you don't mind, where you're sending your messages from. I'm getting other messages. Always keep your messages coming through. I'll keep reading one by one. This one is called Joshua Okiria from Kanyamtam. We know, he says that we know very well that dialogue has been in existence, but has really has really done sometimes great work. May it help. My messages are still coming. Keep your messages brief in that I can keep reading them. Keep your messages coming through. I'll be reading one by one. And we're also going to get to the time of question and answer. We're going to get your questions from the audience. And you ask what do you think these people, a number of issues they can address. That is going to be our third segment of this edition. As I said, Mbale Amon Otega is my name, and this is UBC Ground Zero. This program is about educating, transforming, and inspiring the people of Uganda. Let's talk about mobilization. You are the Vice President, Eastern Region. She's representing women, is a member of parliament, is the organizing secretary. We have, if I'm not mistaken, 9 members in the parliament. Is that so? DP was or is the first political party in Uganda, if I'm not mistaken. That makes it the oldest party in Uganda, but now has 9 members. What went wrong? Are you trying to fulfill the Bible verse where it said the first would be the last? Let me start with the regional coordinator, our host.
Thank you. To me, I would actually appreciate what we have in parliament, much as it's not what I wanted. But of course, I just have to take you back to the history of this country briefly. You know, when Denyara took up power, it criminalized political party activities by a document we called Legal Notice 1. Legal Notice 1 tied all political parties at their headquarters. And it gave the movement system of governance an opportunity to go on recruiting and carrying out their mobilization. From 1986, when President Museveni was, I can say, the speaker of the then parliament, because he was the chairman national, called the National Resistance Council, and actually he was working as the speaker before we had what we call the parliament today. So legal notice number 1 criminalized, I cannot say any word, but criminalized activities of other political parties, and were tied only to party headquarters. From 1986 to 1994, when a new constitution again was made, still an article was smuggled into the constitution that again still kept us up to 2004, when a referendum was held, of course with limited consultation. We don't believe that it was done in a good faith. It was did with limited consultation, and political parties were now allowed to go and start carrying out political activities. From 1986 to 2004, you can see that the junta regime was busy mobilizing when political parties were tied that they could not mobilize. So when the political space was opened up, we went to start competing with the people who had already stationed themselves, had amassed wealth, and actually they had even commercialized now the politics, the current politics today, through the legislation and through activities. So when the space was opened up, you find that some of us probably who were from school, others who were marginalized in terms of resources, could not compete effectively with those who were in the system. That's why you see that ever since then, our representation in parliament has been minimal. But even up to now, from 2004 to, I contested in 2016. I lost because I'm poor, I think. I also contested in 2001. I also lost. But the issue is, when you look, and actually that's the reason as to why we are here, that when you look
at the way the electoral system is set up, it only favors a party that's in power. And disenfranchises these other political parties. I earlier on asked a question, how can you go into a field to verse Team B, but Team B has an opportunity to elect the referee, the arbitrator, and actually even he who records marks is from Team B. So you find out that the political ground is not favoring these other political parties. That's why you see that NRM can manage because of the resources they have accumulated, because of the power they have, because of the way they look at their leader as an idol and he rewards them because they are good cadres. Actually, the political ground is not favorable for other parties. Look at a scenario where you are charged 3 million shillings to contest as a member of parliament. And you are contesting against someone X who has been in office from 1986 to the time you are contesting, close for 20 to 30 years. You are from school. Where are you getting the 3 million shillings? That's one. Two, after raising the 3 million shillings, can you go out and start also dishing out money the way they do it? But whether you do that, do you have powers over the electoral commission, the returning officer at the district? That pending alone, is the judiciary independent that in case you run it to court, the judiciary under the presiding judge will be given an opportunity to make a judgment out of his mind? But can you also run political party activities rightly? You see that the system is corrupted, that it advances the criminal justice law against the wills of Ugandans. That's why you see that our mobilization has not been good, and even our representation, not only in parliament, but even at local levels, is not good because the entire system has been corrupted. And that's the reason as to why we are here. That one, can we first forget all about what happened? Now, after forgiving one another, what we call reconciling, can we now dialogue? Can we sit on the same table? Now when we sit on the same table, the question today is, should we maintain the current electoral laws or not? That's the reason as to why we are here. I do believe that if those laws are amended, I and you will be in parliament. Thank you.
Interesting. Member of Parliament, how are you mobilizing members of DP?
First of all, on my side, I will take the opportunity to honestly appreciate Ugandans who have ever contested and who continue to contest on Democratic Party ticket. They are really very courageous men and women of this country. With mobilization in respect to occupying offices, political offices, I must commend Democratic Party because, you know, we are dealing with human beings, and managing human beings is not very easy. There is a general principle that every man for himself and God for all of us. It's on the basis of such principles that has made the mobilization, actually not for DP, the political mobilization in this country very hard. And that is why we are even seeing the independents becoming very many in this country, because it's based on that principle of every man for himself. So human beings tend to look at where and how he or she is going to benefit. And it has actually not affected DP alone. I'm saying it has even affected NRM, which is in power, because that principle cuts across. How do I survive? How am I going to benefit? A human being will only support where he or she is going to benefit from. NRM, when we go back to political organization bill, it's basically an organization which did not fit even the shoes of political organization. What do I mean here? Ideally, it grabbed 1986 by use of a gun. That's a fact that all of us, we cannot run away from it. And the people who suffered most was not even DP, was UPC. Because it is UPC, maybe that question would have gone to UPC. They're the one who suffered most and who have continued to lose. You can imagine, even to date, UPC cannot merge with the members of the Democratic Party. Now this gives you an idea that DP is actually not doing bad. We are doing mobilization, and the mobilization is very strong, even to this area where we are talking about Bugisu here, because we always field candidates. Every part of this country, we field candidates. But because of the intimidation, the fear, the assault, I must say, I will not say NRM, but the ruling government honestly assaulted on Ugandans. And you know what it means by an assault? Once you are intimidated and you are scared, then you don't participate. You don't come out openly to participate in an election. However good, however eloquent, however rich you are, you tend to fear because of that assault, that you have been assaulted. So, mobilization has not been basically very free because of the two principles, the assault part of it, which the ruling government, which organizes elections, of course by virtue of appointing the returning officers, creates fear to its people who are going to participate. And then two, the general principle that I've just talked about of every man for himself, God for all. So everybody in that fear says, I will not identify with DP. Today I will not put on blue. Neither will not call myself a UPC. Though inside your mind, you know that I'm a Democratic Party. But that's why, in fact, when you do the assessment properly, it is only either the Democrats or the congressmen who are running this country. Because the NRM are Bushmen. Sorry, I withdraw. I withdraw.
All right.
But indeed, before they came to a political platform, it's factual.
All right.
That they were from where they were.
All right. Thank you, Honorable. Thank you, Honorable. I have messages. Wase Abu, big up to that lady for her interesting and mindful information. However, she spoke the truth. Otherwise, let the power back into the hands of Ugandans. Thank you for serving. Someone says, hello, this is Fiona Daisy. I want to thank you, all the participants, for opening our eyes because we were blind about what was happening. Thanks. And someone else says, I'm called Alex from Ginger. Thank you for that good program. Me, I just want to ask the members that, do you think that dialogue will change anything? Also, someone called, I am not happy the way the current government is doing things, and you people talk of dialogue every time. We shall never achieve through dialogue. Okiria Joshua. Thank you, and keep your messages coming through. I will be reading one by one. That's what Ugandans need that's what Ugandans exactly need to be aware of. Others have hustled a lot for this country and even lost people without their gratitude for others. Claire from Bukedia. Thank you, the people of Bukedia. I think, Joshua, I read your messages earlier on. I'm DP. I also read these messages. For the third session, I'm going to get questions from the audience. Make sure you write down your question. Perhaps if time allows, we're going to give you a microphone. If it doesn't allow, we're going to get those messages written down, and then we shall read for my panelists to address them. Before I go to the organizing secretary to know what they are doing at the national level, I would love to know how the women are doing their mobilization. Long time ago, when women were putting on dresses all in green and singing the DP slogans, and what happened? Where did we get lost from this?
Thank you so much, Emon. The DP women are still putting on green, and they are still singing. It's only that the trend and patterns of politics in this country has changed a little bit. And of course, when trends and patterns change, you also have to change tactics. We said, we went to the streets. I am a product of the Uganda Young Democrats. I can mean to be politically violent if I want to, because these are techniques that we learn in politics. I remember, before I respond to that, I take you a little bit, when I was at Makerere University, and I served as the speaker of the Uganda Young Democrats Makerere University chapter. Actually, it's the biggest chapter of UID in Uganda at the institutional level, and that one, no one can doubt that. Because you see, from the guild presidents and to the members of parliament you have today, most of them went through UID, especially at Makerere. So we took it to the streets several times. I remember the time when Honorable Brenda Nabukenya, who is the woman member of parliament of Luero, and she was the president of UID by then, they organized a birthday party, a cake, for President Yoweri Museveni. And I was a young girl then. I was invited. We went through, we were beaten Chiboko, left, right, center. And as UID, what we were trying to put was that we need change. We need change. This must change. We poured all the insults, yeah? At another scenario, remember, I counterfaced, if you guys remember Afande Omala, the notorious Afande Omala. This is an incident that Sarah will never forget in my life. We had a very notorious strike at Makerere University, and UID was at the forefront because we wanted reforms, yeah? I remember holding the guy on his collar like this, and everyone was like, wait, this young girl, where did she get all this energy from? But did we achieve what we wanted to achieve? Did we uproot President Museveni from the power that we want him to leave? Did we have some of those reforms? No, we did not. And as I now matured into this woman and the politician I have come to realize, yes, we can go fight, we can take our arms to the streets, we can do everything, but we cannot achieve what we want. And we thought wise, yes, now we need to sit down and say, how about we sit and we dialogue until keep reminding the man, you know, your age is going, years are also going, but what is the state of Uganda today? If you leave Uganda today, what happens? And that is one thing that as the women of Uganda, we are trying to push for. How are we mobilizing the women of Democratic Party? In the last election, Nos will agree with me later on when he speaks here, the national organizing secretary of the party. We had close to 160 parliamentary contestants. And out of this, we had a number of women. For record purposes, I don't have it now, but at least we had more than 50 women contest on the ticket of the Democratic Party at parliamentary level. Much as only one woman went through, the rest did not go through because of some of the challenges we talk about, a monetarization of politics. If it wasn't for that case, the electoral laws which did not favor, I would be in parliament today. Militarizing our politics, I would be in parliament today because you do not what happened in Izumbu. You are contesting against NRM and they pour a full battalion of the army. And you expect to win the NRM candidate? No. So these are some of the things as women. We are mobilizing, yes, but we need to sit down and have these reforms. You cannot be the referee. You have the MasterCard, you have the Joker, you have the Matatu, you have everything is on your chest. So then what happens to us? And now we are saying we are not going to go to the street anymore. We went with the Brendas of this world. You saw when we had the DP reunion, before the Chagulanyis of this world turned against us. We thought we had an agenda to achieve as Ugandans. Little did we know that we had the green snake in the green grass amongst us. And it failed us and we said, no, we are not going to tire. So we need to sit down, mobilizing women, but at the same time we need to discuss about the electoral reforms that if Sarah must contest in 2026 and she must go to parliament, let's have a fair play. If you have a joker, let me also have a joker. And let the referee be independent. You understand? Now, if you have this, then even the safe space we are speaking about, the women and the young people in this country to get in, these things will be addressed. How again have we mobilized the women of Democratic Party? Earlier on, I highlighted to you the women and the girl child. We have now instruments of power, policies on board. Initially, you would ask a woman from Katakwi to belong to DP and she says, I cannot belong to a political party because my husband is scared, is biased about women participating. And these vices actually affecting women at the grassroots, whether they're in NRM or they're where. But the women and the men and the young people of this country will attest to that. Now we said, okay, fine. For you to have a woman in a Katakwi to participate in the politics without the spouse stopping her, have these policies and say, you know what? We are recruiting your women to our party because we have a safe space with her. If she's coming here, it is basically politics. And we are very cognizant as Democratic Party, one of our core values is family and our tradition. You understand? So, because a family is a backbone of a nation, I did sociology. There's one we call kinship. If you're talking about governance, you're talking about a country, the country starts with the family, guys. And that is why for us sociologists we say, you cannot have a country without a stable family. Now, in this stable family, a woman must be safe. If I am coming today in Mbale, I have a spouse, and I have my children, and my spouse is okay, and he is very comfortable and trusting that Sarah is here strictly for the leadership of this country, and after that, he knows that I'm going to go back to my house. Now, as women, we are mobilizing women, but through you, the husbands, the sons, the grandfathers, because we cannot achieve to have these women in politics without the men, the husbands of this nation, to give them a go-ahead. It's not just a go-ahead, but a blessing, to accept. So lastly, we've been moving hand in hand with the National Organizing Secretary. Like I told you, my president is on her way coming. So we are moving, wherever there is an activity of Democratic Party, the women is there. But also to bring in even the young people, because we have two organs, which are very, very key for us, is the UYD and the Women League. So there is no political party activity of Democratic Party that is done and the women is left behind. So even in this hall, I am already recruiting women. If there's a woman who is still lost and doesn't know where to belong, Democratic Party is the safest home to be. Thank you.
Interesting. I have seen campaigns now they have started. But before you started campaigning, someone sent a message and said, how do I join DP as a member? I am Wakamuke Milton from Mbale, thanks. I think Wakamuke, if you're in Mbale, you can join us just we are at St. Austin Hall if you walk through the Market Street. The organizing secretary of Democratic Party, you have heard from the people of Uganda sharing the concerns. What is your role? What is your position in as far as mobilization is concerned? But before you come in, allow me also read these messages that you can address them at once. Is the DP opposition party or a branch of NRM? Are you on ground zero to advertise yourself and get rankers like your president Norbert? I am Motenyo Robert in Solonko. That are you advertising? I am Owani Raphael from northern Uganda. That is, he says in Lira. And now I'm in Kampala. Question, how are you going to negotiate with Museveni, yet himself doesn't want to listen even to the colleague NRM to come up? Those are the concerns of the people of Uganda who are listening us from different parts of this country, and I now welcome you, the organizing committee, organizing secretary of DP, to address the people of Uganda on those specific concerns.
Yeah, thank you, Amon. Maybe I will first respond with a question. I will first introduce my question. I mean, give a background to my question. Like I said, DP has been here. DP has seen it all. DP has done everything. And here we are. So, we have several options, maybe, to have regime change. My question is, what other new thing can be done to cause change that DP has not done? DP has done every other thing. We have gone on the streets, we have held guns, we have everything we have done. So I don't know what some of our critics think they can do that we have not done. But that's besides the point. We believe that for the sake of this country, the best option to save this country from a possible implosion is dialogue. And apparently, in politics, you must be able to predict the future. And whatever action you take, you must take that action in an attempt to make the future good or better. Because our politics today have been radicalized by extremists on both sides. You have people who have power and they think they should keep this power at any cost. And you have another group on the other side that says that these people should cede power at any cost. So when you look at that situation, it gives you an obvious situation that if this is not averted, you'll definitely have an implosion in this country. But we are saying both extremists or radicals are part of this country and they must be in this country. So what is the safest way out for both of them? Because, for example, I've been to some places, even here in Mbale. between 81 and I think 85, you had quite a number of people who were in NASA. There was a security outfit called NASA. I've seen some old men of 80 years dying abroad because they can't stay here, because they were in NASA. When you go to West Nile, a whole region was pushed out of this country because there was a political change. When you go to northern Uganda, people lived in camps for 20 years. Those were very, very, very trying times. People living like animals, not decently as human beings. So we are saying this cycle must change. So the only thing we can do to avert that is to engage the person who has power and convince him, because it also benefits him and his legacy. And we believe the president, the chairman of NRM, has a legacy to protect. So we must engage him and show him that, look here, for you and your offsprings, your people, and your legacy, the safest way out is to talk and have a situation that can accommodate all people of this country. Then you asked something about organizing. For us, one, we shall organize by getting out like we are today to tell people the position of the Democratic Party. And we can also organize by strengthening our organizational capacity, which actually we are doing lately. And we believe that in the shortest time possible, maybe before the next election cycle, we will be better organized, and will be in a better position to compete for political power.
Thank you, Paul. The organizing secretary, allow me to join me to welcome the Vice President, Honorable Mukasambide. You are most welcome, sir. Thank you for joining us to this important dialogue, and we are much privileged and have been waiting for you, sir. Interesting. The next part that we're going, after this very short break, we're going to get some of your concerns. I request that you keep it so brief, one minute. If you can help us, as we're in Democratic Party, you just, we are fighting for equality. We want everybody to have the opportunity. So if you can use seconds, you would have really helped us. But I pray that we use little time, because we have so many to address. A very short break. We're coming back in a bit. This is UBC Ground Zero. Away.
This is Ground Zero Season 2. Stay tuned. We shall be right back. It's hot.
We passed it. We didn't know exactly what the problem was on the ground. There is no pretending about the effect of this thing. There's no pretending about it. Nobody showed. It's a problem.
It's balanced.
This is not the stage at which you start planning to tax a commodity like coffee, especially from down there.
It's intellectually engaging.
The Constitution provides that the land must be registered under the customer tenure system, which is one of those that's recognized by the Constitution.
Ground Zero Season 2, live and syndicated on your public and national broadcaster, UBC, inspiring Uganda.
At UBC Radio, all our radio network across the country is committed to inform, entertain, educate and guide for national transformation.
On radio, UBC should set its own example. Leka bano abatafa ku bantu baffe bagumaza ndowooza muganda kito okugumaza to divert people. Let our own UBC bring programs to educate the people so that abagala kugumaza babeereyo bagumaza naye naffe they can advise, guide And people in time will judge the one who is their friend and who is just using them.
Tune into UBC radios for credible socio-economic programs. UBC, inspiring Uganda.
This is Independent Sound.
UBC has 11 sister radio stations spread throughout the country to educate, inform, and entertain. Tune in to UBC Radio FM 98, your national radio station, Magic 100, where sports and music is our life. 87.5 Star FM in Uganda, 97.4 UBC West covering Western Uganda, 102 Mega FM in Gulu, 97 FM Butebo Radio in Eastern Uganda, 107.0 Buduri FM, 100.5 Ngea FM in Kasese, 98.0 West Nile FM in Arua, Total Ray Radio FM 90 in Karamoja, and 93.0 Voice of Mundbujo. Now you're covered in your local language.
UBC Radios, inspiring Uganda. Welcome back. Ground Zero Season 2 continues.
UBC Radio, inspiring Uganda. This is UBC Ground Zero. We are broadcasting live on 4 radio stations. We are live on UBC Radio covering all these parts of this country on 98.0 FM. We are also live and clear on Magic 100 FM covering central parts of this country. We are live and clear on Western Nile FM. Can get us on 98.0 in Western Nile, Teso, Acholi, Lango, and some parts of Karamoja. We are also live and clear on Butebo Radio, covering eastern parts of this country. In case you are in Mbale, we are 96.9 FM. If you're in Soloti, we are 98.6 FM. If you're in Jinja, we are 97.5 FM, and all the other radios. Mbale Amon is my name. And I've come with the entire team from UBC, Michael Fupa, Hira Rekaturebe, Annette Namobiru, and Namakose Mary. They are here to make sure that this goes to all these parts of this country. And I thank all the other media teams that are here to make sure that the people of Uganda are educated, transformed, and inspired. I have a team that for the first part of this dialogue, we've been talking about different issues concerning mobilization and dialogue, cooperation, and many others. It is now your time to participate. We have heard from the other side of our audience, on the radio side, those who are listening, and I would love also to get your ideas, those who are attending this live. As I said before, I pray that you use seconds, if not 1 minute. I have a gentleman there. Raise your hand, and the gentleman will give you the microphone.
DP Oye! DP Oye! My name's Peter Hitumira, and the original name in Mbale City, they call me Egumire. Dialogue, ekigambo dialogue, project, singa project eba awantu bonna bamugireeta, tereeta bibi, eba erina kuleeta birungi. Project kigambo kukanya mukole kigenda wa mu maaso kinaleeta ki ebirungi. Nakityo dialogue eyasayiningibwa bannaffe abakulembeze mu DP oyo yali sabuni sanitizer okunaaza amasiga 3 agafuga the governing organis ziri 3 mu mawanga agasinga obungi n'eryaffe, that is parliamentary, judiciary and executive. Singa amasiga ago ganaazibwa gajja kufumba entamu erimu emmere buli Munnayuganda alyeko era asanyuke. Ebyange bikomya.
Tweyanza nnyo tweyanzeke.
Njebaleko basebo ne banyabo amanya nze Masayisa Fiina. Mwebale kutegeka dialogue eno. Ekizibu ffe abakyala wansi awo kye tulina. Tuli bantu ba DP, twagala nnyo twenyigire mu byokulonda naye akasimbi tetulina. Kati banaffe aba NRM bano batuyitako lwakuba Mukama waabwe abakiikirira n'abawaka akantu. Ekyokubiri badde nsaba DP etuke ku kyalo musomesa abantu ab'oku byalo. Kyekyo mwebale.
Tweyanzeke. Next.
Thank you very much. My name is Mwanje Yahaya. I am the former East Chairperson of Mbale District. First of all, I want to thank the President of the Democratic Republic Party for coming up with this dialogue. Indeed, it is a good one. And as Ugandans, we are not ready to see a bloodshed, because when we exercise, when we have politicians who sometimes room for bloodshed in power transition, as the country, we lose very many values. In Uganda, first of all, I want to be on record that I want to, first of all, thank His Excellency, the President of the Republic of Uganda, that already in his mind, there is a mind of the Ugandans having a peaceful transition of power. Why am I saying that? That right now, as Ugandans, we already have, as Mzee talked about the three what? The three governance arms of this government. We see that at least most of the parties are represented. Two, that the president has already accepted the multi-party what? The multi-party political system. So before we come up with the peaceful transition of power, we need to first of all identify which kind of leader who is going to keep the values of our country, of our nation. Because we shall not just accept to have the transition of power when the people we're anticipating to come, they're the people who are going to support the Vishagas, like the Bob Wines. We must, first of all, we must be very keen. We must train. That's why the president is very keen in this and is very tough in this. We must first of all groom the leadership. We must come up with the people who understands what are the Ugandans want. Then secondly, as we are anticipating or advocating about the transition of power, we must also advocate to bring back the term limits on board. Because you cannot talk about having a peaceful transition of power and you are accepting someone to contest for more than 5 terms. Before, as the young people and women, we need to advocate for this. As I conclude by saying that women and youth, this is our time for us to come out and support this dialogue. We are not supporting this dialogue because we are NRM, we are DP, we are FDC, we are NUP, But this is going to help us because we are not ready to see our relatives die, to see our friends die, to see the economic, the strengthening of our economic status lowers. We want to be like countries, like actually right now, I want to refer to Kenya, where they have term limits. You see their transition is what? Is always peaceful. I may not have much to say, but before we think about each and everything, let us bring the term limit on board and must be supportive by the young people and women. Thank you very much.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. I would love to also have ladies participating.
Okay.
It's okay.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. First of all, I would like to take this opportunity to welcome Mr. Mabike in Mbale City. Munzikirize kozesa Uganda I council the Northern Division and the Secretary Nile Mbale City. Because when I heard about the publicity, they were inviting all members from other political parties, and that's why I'm here. Ekisokera ddala mukulu Mabike tusanyusa tukwaniriza Mbale City. Bidde. Ekyange kiri nti DP as a party is an old party, but what has killed DP is greed. Zijukira bulungi when Norbert Mao was elected as the president, the people of Buganda region decided to form SUVI. And I think that alone caused a lot of problems in DP. There was a lot of division. You see, greed, and at some point, people also discovered that I think they were building party just on tribal sentiments. Mao being a northerner was looked as a person who was not supposed to be part of DP. So they created the SUVI, and that SUVI thing, abantu batuuka ekiseera ne bakiddukamu olw'ekintu kya SUVI nga abantu bakirabanga bakizimbidde ku musingi gwa Buganda. Kale tuyinza okunenya government, but the issue is within DP itself there was a lot of greed. Mulimu kwegamba abakulembeze nga beeyagaliza. Norbert Mao kyeyakola tukiraba nti is mature. We should not think about politics of defiance. We should look at politics of building party structures. That's the only way to go as the young Democrats. My father was a DP, but he left DP because of this disorganization. He told me, my son, I've left DP because they are not ready to serve the country. They're only looking for their own personal gains. Kati mbasaba, President Museveni is a dictator, but he's not a dictator. He has created a conducive environment for all parties to participate. Join NRM, we shall work as a team.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. There is someone behind there. Yes.
Thank you, DP. Thank you, DP. I'm a product of UID. I'm called David Mafavi. I just want to begin this way. My grandmother told me that when wise men point at the moon, it is fools who see the finger. And we are dancing around the finger. I want to ask, have we learned anything from this government? Do we have good notes from this government? Given the fact that learning is acquisition, retention, and application of knowledge. My grandmother would add that when a man speaks, ask him, are you the one speaking? Or it is your heart speaking? I want to ask, therefore. Sometime last year, I wrote a story when President Museveni was refuting a statement that DP had signed an agreement with NRM to discuss, or one of the issues that was in was peaceful transition of power. He refuted that. I wrote that story. And I want to ask, when Museveni is speaking, is he the one speaking, or his heart is the one speaking? And where is honesty? Who is honest? You've been discussing a lot of things here. There are many issues you have discussed, and I want to find out how many of these, from the time you signed this agreement, have you implemented? Lastly, I want to give a comment. When I grew up in the village, one of the people I admired most was called late Mr. Chisoro Makanya. Chisoro Makanya was a DP. I admired him so much, to the level that I loved DP. If he stood to speak, he would convince almost everyone to join DP. Today, I don't see those people. Where did they go? How are you? What are you doing to revive such? Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, sir. Ladies, we still need your participation. Excuse me. First help me, my mzee here.
Okay.
Thank you.
I'm called Mzee Safi Wakaete Mafwavi. I'm a member of the National Council UPC delegate. Nzizewano, I came here because one of the officials of DP rang me at night to come and participate in this dialogue. And I've accepted to come. First and foremost, in this dialogue, I want to pity ourselves as Ugandans who sent MPs of the 7th Parliament and gave all the powers to the president to appoint, to assent. So in other words, this country, if it is to go out of this jargon, we need reforms so that these powers are trimmed from the president. In the Constitution, there are about 285 articles that empower the president to appoint and assent. So, our friends who made the Constitution are the ones who have bred this dictatorship on us as Ugandans. But I'm of the view that if we started by having reforms, which reforms can enable us, first and foremost, to have a leader, if he's going to contest as the president, he should relinquish the powers of presidency, be aside, and then contest as an independent Ugandan. But if we continue having a president coming in the election with all the powers, the army, the what, and you think we shall have a change in this country, God forbid, we shall never reach there. Two, we should have the Electoral Commission. This Electoral Commission is appointed amongst the articles of the Constitution by His Excellency the President. Now, you are already a player, at the same time you are a referee. Can you really have a fair game. You can't. So unless something is done to change the constitution so that electoral commission is like that one of Kenya, appointed by parliament and not elected by the president, we are wasting time to dialogue as long as the electoral commission is appointed by Museveni. My children, my sons and daughters, we are wasting time. Let's start with the reforms, change the constitution, put aside the electoral commission, have independent electoral commission, is when we shall achieve what is in our minds. Finally, I want to stop by saying the leadership at the moment, and that is the leadership of President Museveni, is the leadership which does not listen. You people like him, Mukasambide, we thought when you go to parliament, you advise so that the president follow your advice. But you find that he's having, understand, 120 advisors, which advisors himself is the advisor of the 120 advisors. And these people are busy scooping a lot of money in this country. Why I'm saying that is that recently what pained me when I listened to the radio, that he's going to buy motorcycles for parish PMD.
Parish development model.
Parish development model. These parishes are very small places. Why do you add insult to an injury by, again, energizing these parish chiefs? This money would go to the desperate art teachers in secondary schools, the head teachers who have been demoralized in secondary schools. In primary schools, teachers are not paid well. And of recent, he raised some money for intern doctors. But the teachers are there, they are yawning. Nobody is ready to look at them. Mukasambide mwetetu muyambye abasomesa bali bubi nnyo kubanga batya okugobebwa banayogerera. You can't pay a teacher 800,000 and you pay another teacher 4 million. This is very, very, very unfair. Because now even this science teacher is unruly in school. Head teacher gets only 2 million. And this man or woman gets 4 million. Can the head teacher supervise a boss who is getting a salary higher than him? You see, our president does not listen. Mukasambide, if it means demonstrating in a parliament, you people are going to demonstrate. Because the man doesn't want you to listen. The standard in schools is going down because of you, the parliament. You fear you are cowards. Go and tell the man that if you don't raise the teachers' salaries, the art teachers, we are going to abscond the parliament for a full year. Because the standard in schools is a jargon just. That pains me so much. But go and suggest in the parliament to remove the idea of buying motorcycles for the parishes. That is a wastage of resources. Let that money come to education. Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you, Mzee Mafabi. This closes the first set of questions. Yes. For those who have more questions, we are going to give you another chance, but allow me, my panel, to address your concerns first. And I'm glad that even the Vice President is here with us. Another round of applause for our Vice President. For those who don't know, our Vice President is Honorable Fred Mukasambide. He's a Ugandan lawyer, is a human rights activist, is a mass communication specialist, is a motivational speaker. For those who don't know, if he started speaking, will all of us either be shedding tears or in any way you get motivated. But most importantly, he represented this country in the region of East Africa as a member of parliament in East African Legislative Assembly. And thank you for the good representation. And is the Vice President of Democratic Party. We thank you for being with us, President. This is UBC Ground Zero. We give you the microphone and you use your right to say anything that you feel you want to educate, to transform and inspire the people of Uganda. Allow me now get 1 minute to my panelists to address those serious concerns. Let me start with the ladies.
Yes, thank you so much. Many of the questions and the concerns of Ugandans here rotate around reforms. But let me first start with the lady. Thank you so much for loving Democratic Party. I am going to speak English because my Luganda is not so perfect. It might not Luganda well. She benchmarks NRM for giving the women leaders funds to help them do mobilization at the grassroots. Earlier on, I mentioned the issue of monetarization of politics in this country. Now, the NRM party is in power. And they have all the discretion, as all of us have explained here, to channel whatever amount of money they get to help them do grassroots mobilization and perhaps buy some of these gadgets we are talking about, phones. We would also love to have such for our leaders. But of course, as per now, as our strength in the parliament, the amount of money we get perhaps would not enable us to dish out these funds to each and every woman or young person at the grassroots to mobilize for us. However, there are other alternatives. I love her observation about grassroots mobilization. Madam colleague, I want to remind you that what we are doing right now is a part of the grassroots mobilization. At a sub-regional level, and then I know after that we shall have the district executive level, because now DEC of each and every district is supposed to sit down and now take this to the various districts. For us as the members of NEC, the National Executive Committee, yes, we might do it at a regional level or sub-regional level, but now to the grassroots, it is also incumbent upon us, the party members, especially those ones in the district executive committee, and that is going to happen. And we are going to strengthen on that. And two, I am answering only two, the rest my colleagues will take on. A gentleman talked about the greed among some of the DP leaders, the NRM cadre. Where is he? I want to agree with you. Yes, thank you so much for being very honest. We are trying to prune our house. Ever since we went to the National Delegates Conference in Gulu in 2020, a lot of things has changed. We said, tetugenda kukiriza abantu okututegerera. We won't allow people to reason for us. We will want to reason for ourselves. And some of the issues here discussed about is the issue of greed. Now, with all this greed that came on board, did we achieve any change as Ugandans? No. And that's why we are saying, okay, fine. We are strengthening our house, but at the same time, Ugandans must know that there's that impediment. President Yoweri Museveni, you're saying, has given us space. But the space is limited. For instance, I can speak here, but I don't know what will happen to me after speaking. Now, we need to address all these fears so that we have the peaceful transition we are talking about. But for now, there is no greed in Democratic Party anymore. DP is for everyone. That's why Mukasambide is here. Sarah is from Zumbo, he's from Busia, he's from Kabale, and the rest of it all. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you. The Vice President from the Women's League, Gilbert.
I will also probably look at two issues because the lady issue has been addressed, but probably to add on more light is Mama aba mugumu kubanga electoral reforms zijja kutaasa ekizibu kyo ekya ssente okubeera nnyingi mu campaign. We look at kantandikire na kino ekisembyeyo where Museveni is giving at teachers, maybe you said maybe 1 million, abalala bafuna probably 3 million shillings. I also don't know whether Museveni is a scientist, that he prefers that maybe scientists should be the people who should be given privilege in this country. And if that's the case, in those that we are scientists like Dr. Besige probably. Now, we are here to solve such problems. And if you agree with us, because we are consulting and we want constitutional review to be set up. So I just think that we do need to have, in the opinion of DP, what we call a salary remuneration committee, a committee that will look at all Ugandans, depending on their qualifications, and appropriate remunerations and salary properly. That's probably what I think, and probably others will add on. Then we ratify, and probably it's captured up by the government. Then lastly, before I hand over the microphone, you see, we talked of building capacity and monitoring elections. I'm one person who believes that PDM is a campaign tool for NRM. And that's what I just believe. So the motorbikes and what you are talking of, to me, I believe that he's only trying to prepare his way for the next gen election. But I think, all in all, when we come to table and agree on constitutional review, this one and all the fears you are raising will be put to rest. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Let me get the opinion of the Member of Parliament as I come to the organizing secretary.
Well, for me, it looks like we have all agreed. We all came here to deliberate on issues of probably the reforms. These are not questions directed to a particular person that answer A, B, C, D. And by consensus, you seem to be agreeing with us, who brought up an idea that we need to have a dialogue, we need to have certain constitutional reforms in this country that do benefit Ugandans as a whole. It is not for DP, it is not for NRM, it is not for UPC. We need to work together as Ugandans to make this country a better place for all of us to live in. Thank you.
Organizing Secretary.
Thank you for the wonderful contributions you have made. And like I started by saying, this cooperation agreement actually, from what has come out from the audience here, I think is the answer to the problems of this country. And I would only take this opportunity to implore everyone here to come out and support, because with the success of the cooperation agreement, all the electoral reforms we are talking about will be in place. All the constitutional reforms, like you say, will be in place. So I will implore you, step forward, bring your proposals, and support the success of this cooperation agreement. Thank you.
Thank you so much. You have? All right.
Something which was not answered. A gentleman talked about Museveni refuting the transitional issue. Yes, probably he could have talked about it, but at least I'm also certain that he didn't refute the cooperation agreement. Maybe, of course, this was an agreement. And you see, when you are writing an agreement, it means that you're having two opposite sides with the different views. So you agree on other things, then you see the other things for your friend. So probably the transition was not advanced by him, and he's at liberty to look at what was not good with him, but at least he has never said, I know nothing about the cooperation agreement. Engaging him still continue. Thank you.
Thank you so much, my panelists, for sparing time to come and inspire the people of Mbale and Bugisu sub-region about this important, but most importantly, addressing their concerns. From the other audience, on the other side of radio, there's messages still coming in. Someone says, Ugandans are contaminated with NRM program, e.g. yoga, PDM. How will you convince contaminated Ugandan to join DP? Is called Mutenyo. Robert is listening from Solonko Trading Center. And someone says the current speaker, I don't know who you are referring to, is saying that they have more than everything as DP, but do they have offices in every district? I would have joined, but no proper address for DP. So someone else says, I believe that DP will lead Uganda in time to come because of the good program they have for the people of Uganda. It's called Angol Benedict. That is his name or her name. Thanks for the program. This is Olanya from Kampala. Let's fight together as the same family. We shall see our victory. Thank you so much, people, for coming for this dialogue in St. Austin Hall here in Mbale City. This brings us to the end of our first session of our discussion. I'm going to hand over to my brother Joshua, and he's going to take us for some minutes as we start another panel of discussion. And we thank all the members who are on the other side of radio. You've been part of us from the time we started, and please keep on the radio as we bring you more. We have the Vice President already with us here, and we're waiting for the President. We're having another interesting panel that is coming your way. Mbale Amonobutega is my name, and this is UBC Ground Zero. We're broadcasting live on 4 radio stations. God bless you. Joshua, take on.
Thank you so much. I think we need to clap for them. Wow. In the same spirit, I would like to officially welcome you all to this meeting or dialogue under the umbrella of the Democratic Party. Njagala okutwala omukisa guno okubaaniriza mwenna mu bifo bye muviiriddemu bitundu by'ebugwanjuba naddala mu Mbale nga nakubakanira mu ngeri ya buraawa ni habimbofu ate ni hubasima okwehaliriha naddala efe abeesire hale abeesire ku mutikinyi mwanyala naabe. I also want to recognize the arrival of our Vice President of the Democratic Party, Honorable Kasambide. In that same spirit, I would like to request that we stand and we honor our nation. Remember, some of us arrived when this radio program had started, but let's officially open this meeting. Thank you. Let's stand on our feet, and the DJs will lead us to connect. We're going to sing the national anthems of Bamasaba, East Africa, and of course Uganda as a nation. Thank you. Katuyimba oluyimba lw'eggwanga. O Uganda, may God uphold thee. I lay our future in thy hand. United, free for liberty, together we always stand. Shimomi mwanyi niruchingi masaba. Shirimo bibindu biyangisa babandu. Uwe mewere, uwe shirifa. Uwe titi kabikunine nine. Eva masaba. Usinyatwera Beheshi shalo shefe masaba. Okay. Thank you so much. I will kindly request if we have a reverend, a pastor, or imam, sheikh, can give us a prayer before we continue. Okay. Thank you. Thank you so much. Sometimes I get confused whether we close our eyes or not, but thank you so much. We shall be using different languages, Uganda, English, and also a little Masaba, since we have majority of you are Masaba or Akisu. Thank you. So our discussion us his message on the national dialogue and reconciliation as we chart the way forward. Democratic Party has been, as in the discussion we've had, has had a big stake in the political affairs of this country since 1950s and up to date. Actually, I was looking at my calendar on my calculator, and I was looking at DP is almost making 70 years next year. So this year, the Democratic Party is 69 years. So it has been at the political affairs of this country since time immemorial, and throughout the history, it has left a trail of events which are very permanent in the history of this country. So in that regard, we will continue to have a dialogue and see how we can engage the NRM government in a peaceful transition. Ladies and gentlemen, feel free to express your views, and the leaders and the leadership of the Democratic Party are here to give you their opinion in terms of the understanding the MOU with the NRM government and how we can chart a way forward in terms of a peaceful transition of power. Ladies and gentlemen, this juncture, I will request the organizing secretary or the person, the regional representative. He will help us to guide and invite the organizing secretary. But before that, remember, in dialogue, you have two cards. One of the vice president on the side of the ladies was saying that you must have cards. You must have a joker when you're in dialogue. You must have your cards on the table. And in many cases in life, you either agree to agree or you disagree, and you need to make up a choice. One Englishman said, even if you don't want to make a choice, but you have to choose. So, at this material time, the Democratic Party decided to choose a path of peace, a peaceful resolution, dialogue in terms of approach to the matters of national building of the country that we love, we call Uganda. Ladies and gentlemen, we don't have any other country. Maybe some of you have dual citizenship, but for us, majority of us who are here, we only know the country Uganda. So in that regard, I will humbly and kindly request the regional representative, who is also our neighbor, so that he can invite for us the organizing secretary to come, and he will also give us his views. Thank you so much. Like I said, the discussion will be in different languages, 3 languages, Lumasala, English, but largely in English. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. Thank you, beloved Ugandans, Democrats, all members of all political affiliations present here, and all those who had some little time off their busy schedule to be with us here. I will take this honor, Mr. President, of course. You know, when the president is not around, the national vice president takes charge. And when he was not around, of course, I was sitting in as now as the president. But now that he has come, I hand over. So, Mr. President, in this hall, I would probably start off by making a roll call to probably let you know the people you're going to interface with. In this hall, we have serious Ugandans who want to see a better future from what is being seen today. We do have members of different political parties here. We do have members from trade unions, members from different non-government organizations. We have student communities here. We have the business community. We have, I don't like using that word, that the disability, but the differently abled. We also have the elders here. And above all, we have members of the Democratic Party from this region in this house and the media fraternity. We also have, to accompany you, Mr. President, a few members of the National Executive Committee with us here, and I will probably start by name calling for purposes of clarity. The sub-regional rep of Elgon Zone, Madi Sam, is with us here. I have sub-regional rep from Teso sub-regional, Oyonga Fred Charles, is with us here. I think there is a member from the disability, Edward Iwaki, Deputy National Disability Secretary, is with us here. I think he has just moved out. Mr. President, we also have the Deputy National Youth Leader or National Youth President. You know, I'm used to the other type of us when we're in UID, we could call them leaders, please. I beg to be forgiven. The Deputy Vice President of UID, Helen Sayun, is with us. Then we have the Youth President, Kiria Ismail, is with us. And we also have a Youth Secretary from institutions, Council Sawia Nangobi from IUIU. I do have the Deputy Women President, but since the President of the Women League has not arrived, of course, protocol demands that she sits in for the President of the Women League, Adongo Sarah. I do have the National Organizing Secretary of the Democratic Party, Habati Rutagwera, and the party accountant, Wakoli Martin. Members, we are here today for a cause, and that cause is defining our destiny. We are here to find out where we went wrong. We are here to format, to fashion a country that we all deserve. Back home, we always ask people that when your bed is affected with the bed bugs, do you burn it? Or probably you look for mechanism, you can get hot water and pour around it and the bed bugs go. Now, if Uganda is burning, or if Uganda is dry, you have to put in fire and burn, or you save it. That's the reason as why we are here. Can we save Ugandans? Because I do believe that Ugandans are sitting on a tiny bomb. Mr. President, when you're not around, I said that it seems our leaders have decided to be unpatriotic at the time we felt they should be patriotic. And actually, I summed it up by saying that they have instead waged the war against Ugandans. So we feel that since they have decided to work at travail to our aspirations, I think this is that we can now engage as Ugandans, not as the DPs, not as the Samias, not as the Muslims and the Catholics, but Ugandans, to format the Uganda we need. And I do believe that today we are starting a process of moving to what the Uganda we all deserve to be. Mr. President, before you came, we had a chat. They gave us an opportunity, we shared with them a few things, but of course we couldn't preempt your speech. I think much as probably had gone around what is supposed to be debated, but basically we are here, one, to ground the cooperation agreement, and I know you are in a better position as a lawyer and an advocate of the High Court, Commission of Oaths, an orator, a speaker, and a person who has represented Uganda at international level, I think you are in a better position to explain what the brain content of DP came up with. And I also beg that you will listen to what these mighty Ugandans will come up with. I'm always worried, you know, Mr. President, that language of us, that good English, probably, I don't know whether they will understand it, but they want to listen to it. But probably you will see how you tone it down, but you can also probably chip in. Maybe they will understand it without wasting a lot of time. I was sharing with my friend, and he asked me that what's the region doing. Some people had gone around telling people what the cooperation agreement is. But I told him that yes, you can succeed in making me not to sleep. But once I escape and start sleeping, you cannot stop me from dreaming. So today is our day. And the failure to take responsibility today, we will be responsible for results tomorrow. With those few remarks, allow me call now the organizer. Okay, I've been advised that I hand over the microphone to the moderator. He has something to tell us. Thank you very much, dear Ugandans. God bless you.
Thank you. That's our regional representative for the Democratic Party. Let's give him another round of applause. Kindly, I would like to request those who are outside, please, the discussion has just begun, so let's come in so that we can have a lion's share of this dialogue. Thank you. We're still hearing from more people before I call people who have the heaviest boots, people with the heavy boots. So at this juncture, I would like to invite on Mr. Kiria Ismail, who is the Uganda Young Democratic President. Mr. Kiria, please come and make your maiden speech. Thank you. Let's keep time. Let's keep time so that we can hear more from our leaders. Thank you.
Thank you. Our Vice President in the House, all the NEC members present, and the general public, good afternoon. Kiria Ismail is my name, the President of the Uganda Young Democrats, which is the youth wing of the Democratic Party. I'm also the President of the Young Democratic Union of Africa, a body which unites youth leagues in Africa on the center-right ideology. I would like to recognize my Vice President, Sayuni Heleni, and my entire executive as UYD. My humble appeal is to the young people of this nation that whenever we are having any activity in this country, whether it is positive or negative, it is the young people who are affected a lot. All the previous governments have gone, but we find that actually we are disorganized more than any other person. Why? We have a lot to protect as the young people. I'm just appealing to my fellow young leaders. Let us embrace dialogue, because it is the only activity which can help us move and protect our own interests in the future. At the moment, we have been insulting the President of the Republic of Uganda for a very long time. We have been doing a lot of things to the President of the Republic of Uganda. And for him, he has been responding with something very small, arresting us, torturing us, and suffocating us. But at the end of the day, you can be in crowd to insult him and do anything, but he can single-handedly handle you as a one person. When you go to the prisons, all the political prisoners we are having for the 2021 elections, 90% are young people. We have proved that currently, the current regime cannot be uprooted by election. Just like a certain elder, how he was stipulating it. At the moment, this government cannot be uprooted by going to the bush. Because even those who went with him in the bush, they have failed actually to go back to uproot him. Yet, they are disagreeing with him. Now, the only option now to handle this government is to dialogue with it. We are having a problem that the man we are disagreeing with is having the whole title of the Republic of Uganda in his hand and is at the bed rest. Alina ekyapa kya Uganda naye akikutte mu ngalo. Kati bwe tumukwata obubi, that chapa is going to be teared. And now the kids which he has groomed, they think that actually that title belongs to the father. So the only option now is now to see how we can handle this old man so that he doesn't go with that title to get more problems with the kids he has left. Thank you very much.
Thank you. President UID. I once belonged to the UID and I represented it fully when I was in that docket. Thank you. At this juncture, I would like to invite the chairperson or the vice president of the Women League to also give us a few remarks before we proceed. Thank you.
DJ. I am a communicationist, so please handle me well. I don't want to die here. Muriena Mama Sava.
Mwanyala. Hello. Mwanyala huba bona mwesi. It's a Bananga Sarah Adong. I'm the daughter of this soil. I grew up in Mbale. I went to Bumageni Barracks Primary School in Bumageni, Tororo Road, and I went partially to Mbale Senior Secondary School, and I used to worship in this church, St. Austin. So I'm happy to be home. Ndiingo. Shalero ndihuka na huli akamalewa. Mwaulide. Mbo? Why are you people not proud of Yolu Masaba? You people. Okay. I am the vice president of the Women's League, and right now I stand in the shoes of my president, Honorable Hajat Aisha Waligo, who is on her way also coming. Like the president of the UID has said, there is no country better than Uganda. There is, come on.
Not stakeholders. Because we are the ones in charge of this country. The women, the young people, the men. Left, right, center. The Walk to Work campaign of Best J got me when I was a fresh at campus. They took us through. We were beaten left, right, center. I attacked Afando Mala, left, right, center. But we never got the change we desired. And as I matured, now I sat down, I said, wait. We did all this. I was nicknamed Iron Lady because of that. But we never achieved our goals. So then after that, we sat down as the member of the National Executive Committee. We agreed that there are reforms that we need to have in this country. For a woman to have a safe space to politically exercise her rights and duties and roles and responsibilities as enshrined in the Constitution of Uganda, Article 1, which says power belongs to the people. I am not a lawyer, but at least I try as much as possible to read the legal books to help me. The power belongs to us. The power belongs to the woman I represent, or the women and the girl child I represent. But is the environment safe enough for these women to exercise the people power? Is it? We do not. So, we need to have a safe space for my sister in Mbule, my sister, whichever political party they are in, so that they can exercise the political rights and responsibilities diligently. And these are reforms we are talking about. And as women, we cannot say, now let the men go, let the Mukasambides go, let Suji, the Chirias of this world go. No. As a woman, for me, I actually want to be at the forefront. Mr. Fred, I don't even want to be besides you when you are fighting for these reforms. I want to be at the forefront because when there are challenges in this country, it is the women affected. We are the mothers of this nation. We are the mothers. We give birth. We nurture children. When you men go for your battles, your wars, we remain home. Even when I am in politics, I'm also home. You understand? So, how is a woman going to be neglected and put aside? Gone are the days when you should say, behind any successful man, there's a great woman. No, today it is besides any successful man or leader, there is a woman. And that's why we want to be at the center of the discussion. And we want to take away the fear in the hearts of women in this country. My biggest challenge with our women, I don't care which political party they belong to, but is they are too fearful. And they are fearful of the unknown. Sometimes at my workplace, people ask me, but Sarah, how do you do it? It is because I took away that fear and accepted that I'm a Ugandan. And even if any security organ comes now to arrest me and say, yes, I am speaking this because this is my home, I'm a Ugandan. You understand? So if I am a Ugandan, and if the women are there, shall we not allow these women speak? Therefore, gentlemen and ladies, I am standing here on behalf of the women, thousands of women in this country and the world. Because whatever we do in Uganda is not about Uganda only. It's about Africa and the entire world. And we need to create this space for women to talk about reforms. And that's why we are here with you today. We are not fearing anything. For me, even if they tell me to go and meet President Yoweri Museveni alone, I am willing and ready to go. What is there that is wrong? What is wrong with meeting President Yoweri Museveni? We have been insulted. We have been maligned. The people who are supporting the cooperation agreement, those women in NEC, perhaps they are benefiting. My friend, you can insult as you want. But for us, we are saying, we shall meet Museveni and we shall tell him, Museveni, in case anything happens, God forbid, it is the children of this nation that will suffer. And women, who wants to be a widow? We don't want. Who wants to be an orphan? Who wants to be a widower? You as a man, do you want to? Let me come to you men as I conclude. As the women are fearing, the men are the ones now running away. Sesi nyalata. Senaro bire. Police lihueta. Police hukora shina. Uri running. Where are you running to? Where are you running to? For me, when I was growing up, me and you men were bold. But today, Tiagas two men are the ones running. Hey, boss. And then you come and say, women are not strong. So, what are we saying? The country is ours. It doesn't matter which political party, gentlemen and ladies. It doesn't matter which district. It doesn't matter your gender or sex. It is this black, yellow, red that I am putting on. I want you to reflect deep inside your heart. You are a member of the National Existence Movement. Do you really think Uganda is safe? Do you think so? Do you think bringing the PDM left, right, center is making Uganda safe? They are just sanitizing you. Wake up and say, okay, Muzei, Mwanyala Nabi, Warere Siringi, who can change an effective one, and a transitional one, and a very peaceful one for everyone to be accommodative in their country. Why should I be suffocated in my nation, gentlemen and ladies? You understand? I want you to feel that anger inside you, and specifically my brothers from NRM and sisters. I'm happy that you're here. So, as women of this nation, I call upon you. Take away that fear. Let's sit. Let's discuss and have a peaceful transformation in our country. I want to wind up by welcoming the president of the Women's League, Honorable Aisha Waligo. Please stand up for recognition. Please clap for her. Thank you so much. She is from Kalungu District. I deputize her on neck. Honorable Barbara Aloko, who is the secretary of the Youth League. Barbara, please stand up for recognition. Thank you. And Honorable Sam Ikomba, Edward, sorry. I like calling him Sam, I don't know why. He's the vice secretary of our business arm. Thank you so much. So I remain, our national chairman, my fighter. You see this gentleman here, my friend, but you're most welcome, the national chairman of the Democratic Party, Dr. Mbale. He's here. So I want the Almighty God to bless you. Please feel free to tell us whatever you want us to do. We are willing and ready to listen to you and put into plans and effectiveness of whatever ideas you'll come out with. I bring you warm greetings from Zombo District. Thank you. God bless you all.
Thank you. Bale be kwa pataka homo hono. Mwiwana we fera homo pira homo hono. Rio kwasimire. Bale be abama ku yutuba saho kwabe nyaire urubusano lwa Democratic Party inganiha hukanihisa. Hukanihisa. I think mnuma saba dialogue is hukanihisa. Hukanihisa. Ako bata? Hukoba. Hukoba wasirira muzee wande ndoko muzihire last week. Avenue library bamasaba ni hukoba. So hukoba utiambola bale bohongelesa. Use the best tricks. In dialogue, you have to use your best tricks and your best ideas on the table. We would like to recognize all the officials of the Democratic Party who have just arrived. And this moment, I want to give the honor to the organizing secretary. And during his time, he may invite some members who have just arrived. And thereafter, he will invite for us the vice president. Thank you so much, Mr. Organizing Secretary.
Thank you, moderator. I am Herbert Rutagwera, the National Organizing Secretary of the Democratic Party. I want to first take this opportunity to thank God for today. I also want to thank you for being with us here. Otherwise, maybe if I had organized and no one turned up, it would have been a big problem to me. But I'm glad you are here, and we are going to share in the messages we have today. I think I spoke a lot before when we were engaging with the radio, but I have a few things I want to emphasize. One, somebody mentioned something about education and knowledge. We have seen that belligerence does not work. We have seen our neighbors in Africa who decided that the way to go was belligerence, and we know where they are today. We have an example here, not very far away, Somalia. We have another example, Libya. And the question is, do we want to be like these countries? I think it's an emphatic no. We don't want to be like these countries. And these countries are this way because they thought that they cannot sit down and talk about their country. They thought they can't sit down together and forge a way forward for their countries. I think this is not what we want as Ugandans. For us in the Democratic Party, we believe that we can speak to anyone, even our enemies, for the sake of this country. And what we are doing and what we have done is to give dialogue an opportunity. And I want to implore Ugandans, I can see many young people here. The future is yours. You must determine this country, the future of this country. So I can see very young many people here. I want you to embrace the idea of dialogue and come out very strongly and support this way forward the Democratic Party has opted or is offering Ugandans. Because to me, I could be wrong, but I think I'm right. It is the safest way to go for this country. Mr. Vice President, I think I will stop here, but I wanted to take the honor to invite Mr. Vice President. Our Vice President is called Mr. Fred Mukasambide. He's a lawyer by profession. He's a communicator by profession, and an immediate former member of the East African Parliament. I want you to receive him, and he gives you his remarks. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, our national secretary, our national chairman, the president of the Women League, our members of the National Executive Committee, and the leadership, and the over here. Mulembe Mubukali. First of all, I would like us to agree. Which kind of language would you want me to address you? Uganda? Because I want a situation where whatever I have covered, everybody has understood it beyond any reasonable doubt. Because we are addressing material circumstances that are very critical for the party and very critical for you as our members. And these are material circumstances that we want to use as a raw material to get you to our party for those that are not members. Therefore, I need a language that you can understand better. Yogere lulimi Luganda? Abamanyo Luganda muwanike mikono. Abagala oluzungu muwanike mikono. Simanyi bulungi singa naye ngenda gezaako. Kakati nze ndi musanyufu. Meeting eno eya DP etudde wano Mbale. Omanyi ffe obukulembeze bwaffe mu Democratic Party bwatandikira wano Mbale. Simanyi oba mujjukira. Omwaka 2000 ffe bwe tuba tunaakola ebintu mu DP wano tukola ki? We tutandikira. N'olwekyo kifaanaganako okukuba olunyiriri. Laama mugimanyi? Bw'oba oyagala okukuba olunyiriri wano wooteeka peeni wano kaba katonyeze, si kyekyo. Kati Mbale katonyeze ak'obukulembeze bwaffe mu Uganda era mu Democratic Party. N'olwekyo ffe bwe tujja wano tubatwala nga muli nsonga nkulu nnyo. Tuba tulina okwogera nammwe tutegeeragane bulungi ku nsonga ezituluma. Democratic Party yatandikibwa nga nze sinaba kuzaalibwa. Bamuzeeyi baabo abaaliwo. N'olwekyo ffe tukulembera ekibiina ekitusinga obukulu. Kati kyo si kye kigoberera ffe bye twagala. Naye ffe tugoberera bye kikola ki? Mbadde mpuliriza nga tutandika okwogera ebibuuzo bingi ebizze naye nga byonna bifaanagana. Ne mmanya nti nzowooza nsobola n'okutandikirako ku ebyo nga sinnabasomesa bulungi kye tugendako. Ffe Democratic Party gye twayingira nga bagiteekawo tetunnazaalibwa, ffenna nno abagikulembera abasinga. Bw'olaba president nsuubira naye ndowooza bagiteekawo tannazaalibwa. Tewaliiwo president wa DP yenna ng'ogyeko eyasookera ddala Mwami Kasolo. Tewaliiwo president wa DP abadde tabeerangako mukulembeze mu gavumenti. Ate abakulembeze ba DP tebabeera mu gavumenti olw'okuba bagenze mu gavumenti ezikola obulungi, naye omulimu ogubatwalayo kukyusa byezikola obubi bo babikole buki. President gwe tusinga okwenyumirizaamu yatunulira gavumenti eya Idi Amin ng'ekulembera ng'ekulaakulanya eggwanga. Omanyi nze saagala bintu bya bulimba. Idi Amin yakulaakulanya eggwanga, naye nga kyetayina gavumenti eyo kiri kimu, ly'eddembe lyaki ery'obuntu n'omusingi ogw'amazima g'amakooti. Era Ben Kiwanuka yatambula bukubirire nga president wa DP n'agenda abyekolere nga bakanyiza nti nja bikola. Si nsonga bamutta naye yeyeetuga. N'olwekyo ogwo omusango si gwa DP. Ffe tetugaana, ffe n'abajulizi, ffe ng'Abakatuliki tugenda abajulizi ne tugenda ne tubajjukira. Tubajjukira si lwakuba tutendereza yabatta. Ffe tubajjukira kubanga bo be tutendereza okusalawo okukola ekituufu mu kiseera ekituufu, era Democratic Party ekyo kyemanyiddwako. Dr. John Sebana Kizito yakulemberako DP naye yali minister owa housing. Dr. Semogerere naye yaliko minister owa foreign affairs ne internal affairs. Mutandisi. N'olwekyo ffe mu Democratic Party obwa minister si mirimu. Si mirimu nga bw'ogenda mu office n'otandika okukola. Wabula liba katala eri ekintu ky'oyagala okukyusa mu ggwanga. Abantu bangi tebamanya kakati mu Uganda obukulembeze. Juzi nabaddeko e Rwanda, nafuna omukisa n'empitibwa mu lukiiko olwa Rwanda Defence Forces. Lwali lukiiko lw'amagye naye nga lukoleddwa amagye ne University of Kigali nga tuli mu debate. Amagye gali googera ku bintu ebiri very academic and administrative. Si bino nga byakulwana bulwanyi biki. Naye omusajja omu n'agamba nti the test of good governance is in the results. Bw'oba oyagala okutegeera oba okulembeddwa bulungi, okebera ku bivuddemu mu bukulembeze. Okitegeera? Okebera ku ki? Bw'oba oyagala okumanya byokola oba biba birungi, okebera ku kivuddemu mu kubikola. Bw'oba oyagala okumanya engeri gye bakyusaamu obuyinza mu Uganda ng'oyise mu kalulu, okebera ku bivuddemu mu kulonda. Tutegeeragana? The test is in the results. Nti bw'ogamba nti okuviira ddala mu 1995 akalulu akazze kakubibwa opposition yezze kawangula ne bagirayiza, okebera ku results n'omanya nti eyo yenteekateeka ennuŋŋamu gy'oyitamu okukyusa gavumenti eriko, ozzeeko gavumenti gy'oyagala okola okuzaako. Mukitegedde? Obuzibu bwe tukyayina, sinatandika ku pepa yange naye nkyabawa background information. Obuzibu bwe tukyayina, tuyina bannabyabufuzi abakulembera ebyobufuzi bya Uganda naye nga bafaanaganako. Omanyi waliwo akavubuka kagenda ku kisaawe ky'ennyonyi. Kisaawe ky'ennyonyi mukimanyi? Airport. Naye nga tebakalaba ne keesolosa mpola mpola ne kayingira ennyonyi eri awo etudde. Kakati mukimanyi nti ennyonyi bw'oba onaagivuga okebera osobola okugoberera obutabo obwo nga kye kakugamba okunyiga kyonyiga ennyonyi n'okola ki? Kakati ne kalabawo akatabo. ku kameeza wano nga tekanayingira mu nnyonyi ne kakatwala munda. Akatabo ako nga kaliko bw'onyiga ennyonyi n'onyiga ne katandika okunyiga amapeesa nga akatabo bwe kagamba. Amapeesa ne gatambula ne kagamba ebyo ebino ebituufu bwe bati bwe bagivuga, ne kongera ne kanyiga amaki, ne keeyongera ne kanyiga n'etambula. Kati ne kalabira ddala amapeesa agagisitula nako ne kaganyiga. Akatabo ngera kagibuulira bulungi. Ennyonyi nekola ki? Akavubuka ne kabbawo ennyonyi. Abantu bazze wano mu byobufuzi ne babbawo ennyonyi, naye nga bagoberera akatabo ke balonze obuki? Obulonzi. Era ebyafaayo wano mu byobufuzi bya Uganda wazzeewo abantu abajja nga babbawo akatabo n'anyiga bunyizi mapeesa. Ennyonyi nekola ki? Tayina bumanyirivu ku bukulembeze, tayina busobozi, tamanyi gye biraga, naye olw'okuba akatabo yakakutte n'anyiga amapeesa nga bwe koogera. Ennyonyi nekola ki? Muvubuka yabbawo ennyonyi, ennyonyi negenda mu bbanga, ennyonyi netambula. Kakati n'atuuka ekiseera ng'akooye ayagala kuddayo wansi ku kisaawe gye yabbye akatabo, n'anyiga ennyonyi nekola ki? Agenda okweyongera okunoonya peegi eriko engeri gye banyiga nekka, ng'akatabo kamugamba nti biraze mu katabo ak'okubiri book 2, ate nga ko yakaleseeyo wansi. Tutegeeraganye ebyafaayo by'oyo oyinza obitegeera, kubanga akatabo yakabbye n'ayingira mu nnyonyi, akatabo kamulagiridde engeri gye bagibuusa, n'anyiga amapeesa, ate agenda okwagala okutuuka okukka nga bamugamba nti engeri gy'onyigamu amapeesa okukka ebyo biri mu katabo akokumeka, ate nga ko teyakatutte yakalese ku ttaka. Kakati tuyina ne bannabyabufuzi nga akatabo bakanyiga naye nga balina kaki? Mwe mukanya babuuza kyekiddako nabo tebamanyi, kyekigenda okuddako nabo tebamanyi. Waliwo mukwano gwange omugavana w'omu Amerika yabadde awa speech ku university, ayina ekintu kye yajjukiza abantu, n'abagamba nti kye muyina okukola bwe munaabanga mwagala okubeera successful mu bulamu, if you want to be very successful in life, you must establish a system of idiot detection. Muyina okuteekawo enkola etegeera nti kino kitoletoole si muntu waddala. Yabagambye nti idiots are extremely sometimes smart. They can dazzle you with wrong information. They can even get promoted on job before you. They can even be elected president if you don't take care. If you want to be successful, detect who an idiot is and who a leader is. Mu Uganda tukyalemeddwa okufuna ka litmus detection process akamanya nti ono bintu byayogera biri alimba bulimbi. Ne boogera eŋŋombo ne zitambula, eŋŋombo mwe ne muzikwata, ne batambulira mu bintu mwe ne mubikwata, naye ogenda okumukebera nga akatabo yabbyewo kaki? Democratic Party erina obutabo bubiri, akabuusa ennyonyi n'akagiteeka wansi. Era awo we tutambulira. Bw'otunuulira enkola ey'obukulembeze n'ebyobufuzi egenda mu maaso mu Uganda, njagala okusooka okubabulira ekisooka, ffe nga Democratic Party tuli ku ludda oluvuganya gavumenti eriko. Kati ate ffe tuvuganya twogera n'okutukwayo nga kutuli kumpi. Abamu mubedde mubuuza endagaano zino, endagaano eno twakola yaki? Wano wabaddewo okulonda mu 1996 twalonda, si kyekyo? Ani yasinga? Eyasinga okulonda, eyasinga obululu obw'ebivudde mu kulonda, ye yali yalonze n'ababala obululu. Era ye yennyini ye yasalawo n'aba n'akuba obululu obunaabalibwa ono alangirire. Era ye yakola ki? Naye nga twavuganya nga opposition. Ne wayitawo emyaka 5 abalina emyaka 25 ne baweza 3 ne tuddamu okulonda. Omwaka 2000 Kwolwo twafunayo n'omusirikale avudde mu magye ga Uganda n'agamba alese enyondo agenda kumukuba enyondo. Era yasinga mu kulonda okwo eyamulangirira ye yali amulonze, obululu obwabalibwa ye yali atutte bizinesi n'agiwa kampuni eyabukuba, era n'ababubala bonna ye yabawa emirimu n'abasasula n'omusaala, era bwe balangirira n'abamulayiza bennyini ye yali yabalonda. Egyo emyaka emirala emeka? Tetwawummula. Kati eyali awezezza emyaka 3 agenda okuweza emyaka 35 omwaka 2006 ne tuddamu okulonda. Kati ku luno oli eyali abulako akatono naye okugamba nti yasinze naye n'atasinga, ku luno bamunominatinga ng'alina mu kkomera. Era Democratic Party yasimbawo candidate John Sebana Kizito. Ne tugenda mu kulonda. Era yasinga okulonda okwo ye yennyini ye yali yalonze n'abaabala obululu. Era enkola y'emu. Era ye yabasasula n'omusaala gw'okubala obululu. Era baamulangirira nti yasinze. Era bwe yamala okusinga ne wabeerawo abalamuzi, era ye yennyini be yalonze. Ne bamulayiza era nga babasasula n'omusaala gw'okumulayiza. N'atandika okulembera. Naye mu byonna byenkyayogera njagala mutegeere nga ssente z'akozesa mmwe muzimusasula baziyita musolo. Ekyo buli lwe njogera gwe sigala ng'omanyi nti naye omusolo gwaffe nga gwakozesa ebyo mbidde byayogedde. Omwaka 2011 abaali balina emyaka 4 tugenda okuddamu omwaka 2016 nga muwezeza namwe emeka? Era kyali kyekimu. Olwo mugenda okuddamu 2021 nga muwezeza ameka? Asinze y'omu, ababubala ye yabalagidde, ye yabawadde emirimu, abasasula omusaala, n'obululu bwennyini obubalibwa yamanyi kampuni ezibukuba, era yaziwa ne ssente ezikuba obululu obwo. Naye nga buli kwesimbawo kwonna aba beesimbyemu era n'abeemwesimbyeko bakugamba ku luno tukola ki? Lwakuba abatandise okugaba ebyokunywa nnyinza okubalindako katono ne mumaliriza kuba njagala abantu baconcentratinge, ngenda kumala kaseera katono.
From the National Executive of the Democratic Party. So let's take note of the questions. Please, as he speaks, be noting certain things that you want to hit on or you want to ask the questions. Thank you. Let's be fast about it. Our dialogue can continue. I think we are good to go. We can proceed, right? We can proceed. Your Excellency.
Hey, tuteredde DPOA kakati we tubadde tutuuse nga muwezeze emyaka 10 ameka naye nga bwe mugenda mu kulonda asinga yennyini y'omu era nga yaba yateese n'okulonda naye nga buli eyeesimbawo mwesimba kakugamba tukuluno nze ngenda omusinga bajjajja nno bayinza n'okuva mu nsi nga tebalabyeko ng'oyo omuntu bamusinga nimbye muzungu ya nti no matter how bad you are not useless. At least you can be used as a bad example. No matter how bad you are not useless. At least you can be used as a bad example. Kati okulonda kuno kwe tubaddemu, however bad, it is not useless. At least we can use it as a bad. Ne tulyoka tutandika okutunuulira nga DP, what is the next strategy? Is the president sticking and clinging to power, or is he in power? Does he want to go, or is he fearing to go? Febe twali tusoma, nze nasomera bano ba Aisha fe twava mu kitundu kye kimu gye tuzaalibwa, nasomeranga ekaabwoko naye nga ate nva kyamuyimbwa n'entambula mayiro 10 okugenda okusoma. Tutambuza bigere nga tetulina mu ngatto, era kyabanga kisesa. Waliwo n'omwana eyajjira mu ngatto ne tutandika omusekerera nga tulowooza alowooza ze kukyala. Mwe ennaku zino mubeera mu ngatto. Naye bambi taata we bazadde be baali babagobye ku mirimu e Kampala ne bajja babeera mu kyalo, kati bo ne balowooza nti eby'e Kampala n'ewaffe bye bikola ki? Ne tumusekerera kubanga ffe mu ssomero lyaffe temwaba nga museminti bwati nga tumala masa. Kati oyinza otya okujjira mu ngatto ng'ate olina obbikola ebyo. Kyabanga kikola ki? Kisesa. Naye bwe twatambulanga twayiyanga ekyokulya. Muwulira? Mu by'obufuzi abagaba soda mbegayiridde kati mulekeraawo. I have passed this as a directive. Kati nze president w'ekibiina aliwo. Temuddamu kina twagala nnyo abantu baffe bafune kye tuleese. Omusajja ow'amazzi, please. Kye twagala okubaliisa kati si soda si mazzi, ebisigala biraba nga tumaliriza. Nga bino mubadde mu byebuuza ti ansa zaabyo bwe zijja tubawa birala. Ebyo tutubadde tetumanyi oba mubadde mu byebuuza. N'olwekyo mbadde mbagamba nti bwe twabanga tutambula, ekyamazima it is natural nti enjala ekuluma ng'ogenda ku ssomero. Era ne bw'oba okomawo esobola okukola ki? Okuluma. Naye twabanga tuyita edda nti gy'emiyembe bwe gubeeraawo, jjajja atuulaawo mu luggya, tatunula nayo nnyo kumanya oba waliwo alinnyo omuti gw'omuyembe gwe, kubanga tebyabanga bya bwavu nnyo nga kati. Kaakati abantu mu kyalo asobola n'okubala emiyembe egiri ku muti gwe, kubanga egyo egimu gye gigenda okumugulira kasukaali ekiro. Naye ffe mu kiseera kyaffe nga musobola okulinnya omuti gw'omuyembe nga jjajja atudde mu luggya wali tabamanyi, naye no balaba tabalaba yatunudde eri, nga mukwata munnammwe omu ne mumusindika n'atuuka ku muti awo n'awalampa n'agenda ku matabi ng'anoga bw'abakolera ki? Wano mu Uganda teri atamanyi nti gavumenti eriko mu abantu mmwe mwagisindika. Eruwero mwamukwatirako emyaka emeka? Wano Mbale wano vite ezisinga we zasookera nga tannamanya oba alisobola n'okukola olutalo olulungi. Bamatini Mwesigwa Black baani bonna baali mu side eno Mbale. Si kyekyo abayamba President Museveni. Naye ffe lumu twasindikako omwana n'atuuka amatabi we gaawulira n'alemwa okugenda ku matabi eri ng'alemereddwa, naye ng'ate omusajja agenda tulaba ate ng'atya okukka kubanga afunye ensisi tasobola kola ki? Kakati ekigendererwa ne kifiira awo. Fe abaagala atunogera emiyembe tanoga, ate twagala ke ate ayina ensisi. Kakati kye kiseera kye tutuuseemu mu gavumenti eno eya Uganda. Njagala mutegeere ffe nga Democratic Party we tubiraba. Pulezidenti takyanyeenya bulungi biganye. Abaagala ebibala takola ki? Ate kati atya okuvaayo kubanga nammwe mumusuubiza birala. Kona kabooti wano ojja kukitunuulira. Kakati ekyo ekiseera weetaaga omuntu asobola omukwata n'amugamba baasi kale kampola mpola, it's okay, tewaliwo kibi kyonna kijja kutuukako, kale ka kubanga kati kye tusinga okwagala ke omulala akole ki? That is the difference between brain power and muscle power. Fete tuyina maanyi ga binywa naye tuyina gaki? How are you going to talk to him? Togenda kuyita mu boxes ze yataddewo n'ateekawo abakuumi bazikuume, n'ateekawo ababala obululu babubale, n'ategeka abanamulayiza nga n'ennaku z'omwezi azimanyi. Kakati nze ngambidde okuŋŋamba nti ogenze musinga mwaka akalulu bwe katyo kibanga era okuŋŋamba nti ngenze kuleeta mazzi mu kisero era n'entuula n'engalinda. Nze sigalinda. Naye mmwe mulwawo okuwuliriza ebintu ebyokunnyonnyola, mwagala byangu. Mu Luzungu bye bayita simplified catechism oba rodomontedi zikyovola nze saa kwogera Luzungu nabane nja kwogera wano ebintu byaffe tuleme kutegeeragana. Kati nze kanjogere bino tukole ki? Tutegeeragane bulungi. Ebintu ebitone ebyo sloganiyalingi. Omusajja agenda n'okeberayo teyagenze n'olinda emirala emyaka emika. Ebyo ebintu tebizimba ggwanga, tebizimba bya bufuzi. Nabagambye nti the test of good governance is in the results. Temwerabira gye twatandikidde is in the what? Results. Bivuddemu kasita bibanga byebimu nga ne bye mukola byebimu, mmwe ababikola mmwe mugenda okukyuka naye nga bye mukola byebimu era ebivaamu nga byebiki? Byebimu. So tulowooza nti Democratic Party esobola okwogera ne gavumenti eriko. Bw'okebera cooperation agreement eyo ffe tetujjangako mu ludda luvuganya, naye abamu tebabimanyi. In fact abalala bo balowooza tuli mu kukola joint government. Ekyo tekinnaba kutuuka, naye nga kye kiyinza okuvaamu singa eggwanga liba literedde. Mu Africa yonna tebakyayogera ku kiyitibwa democracy, boogera ku representative government. Kuba democracy tibibeerawo. Biri ebya America tebikola ki? Tebibeerawo. Ategeka okulonda ye yennyini atambula ne DR form eraga nti ye yasinze ng'okulonda tekunnaba. Temukimanyi? Mwali muwuliddeyo okulonda nga kuwedde ne watabaawo election petition ke wabeere ne wammwe ku byalo, ne watabaawo awaabye nti bamubbye. Kaakati omuntu yenna bw'abeera chairman w'erosi kitegeeza ne bw'omuwa obwa president aba abwagala. Omuntu bw'omusanga nga ali mu kubba ggi afuluma nalyo kitegeeza singa yali amanyi okubba emmotoka naye asobola okukola ki? Okugibba. N'olwekyo tukyayina obuzibu mu African democracy kubanga tekitegeeza nti ddala omuntu asobola okutegeka okulonda n'atuulayo n'alinda bamusinge. Wateekeddwa okubaawo ebiteekateekeddwa. Beera bitya? Mu Uganda wano oli bw'akubalira ng'akubuulira nsi ya Uganda yokka, tosobola kutegeera Democratic Party kyeriko. Naye tulina amawanga agatwetoolodde. Mwanyinaze Vice President wa Women League yabagambye, yakwotinza akantu ka ssemateeka. The all power belongs to the people. Kakati no mu ssemateeka ez'enjawulo eziri mu nsi, akakagambo mwekali. Ssemateeka za nsi yonna yonna, zonna eziri mu luzungu ze nazisoma. Zonna. Ze batannannyonnyola mu luzungu ezo ze sinaba kusoma. Naye eziri mu luzungu nakola ki? Nazisoma. Naye akagamba ako katera okubeera mu ssemateeka ate ne kateekebwa mu nkola. Constitution ya Sierra Leone gye baakola 78 nayo yali eyogera bwetyo. Eye Liberia nga Taylor tannavaako ng'era naye eyogera bwetyo 1978. All power belongs to the people. Eye Mozambique nga yeetandika n'ekigambo Mozambicans, esembyayo Mozambicans. Kwe nga ngoyiza ensi bw'eyingira aba Mozambique balyoke. Former Zaire wano Mobutu Sese Seko ssemateeka we nga yagambira era nga n'ekibiina kyalimu bakiyita National Party nga kyaggwanga yagamba takirinamu, kwegamba si yakulembera abantu ng'akaaba n'amaziga bwe wabaawo kyawulidde mbu ekintu kimulumye. Naye abakulembeze benjogerako bonna abantu bwe beegugunga ne babajja ku bukulembeze oba bwe wabeerawo enteekateeka ezibajja ku bukulembeze, abantu beeyiwa ku nguudo nga bajjaganya. Kitegeeza ki? Singa ddala power belong to those people, ate bandisanyuse batya nga gavumenti ekibakoledde evaako. Wano mu Uganda all power belongs to the people. Naye kasita bamala okulangirira asinze n'akola gavumenti ye, emyaka eki waliwo abantu abayitibwa oludda oluvuganya abatalina kye bayinza kwogera ku nkulembera ya ggwanga. So, our constitution again tells us that all power belongs to the people. But the method of administration creates a corridor of the powerless for 5 years. Tukitegeera ekyo? Awo mulabawo kati bakugamba ani asobya. Omusajja n'akulemberera eggwanga emyaka 5 ku musolo gwe mumusondera, naye ng'abagamba mutemunyega. Yasalawo enguudo, yasalawo waazijje, yasalawo abagaggawala, yasalawo abaavuwala ku ssente zammwe. Omusolo mwabatakimanyi kabanga akakiiko akateekateeka embaga ne kasonda ssente mu bantu embaga ekolebwe. Ne bwe muba bagole temusobola kulyako ekimwekka kubanga abaasonze baagala okulya ki? Naye mwatandise okukkiriza bannabyabufuzi abalekedde awo okulowooza ku nfuga y'eggwanga ne batandika okulowooza ku njaka y'essigiri ez'ewaabwe waka. Bwe twali tusoma nze ebintu ebyasinganga okunkaluubirira okusoma kwali nga kubala mathematics nga sibyagala. Naye nga lwe batugamba nti Master Mujumba asomesa oluzungu enkya lesoni gyeri, nze nsooka mu ssomero ntandika n'okwera nga tebandagidde kubanga nze nga lwe njagala okuyiga. Naye mu kubala okwo mwabeeramu waliwo topic yawo yantawanyanga. Dr. Alaga yabimanyi kubanga ye scientist. Rounding off to the nearest. Nga bakugamba bw'ogamba 4.5 kakati awo oyogera 5 si kyekyo ekisukka awo. Bannabyabufuzi baayiga kati they rounded off to the nearest. Tebaagala kulowooza biri. They rounded off to the nearest. Era abantu bwe mwogera nabo ku nfuga y'eggwanga tebabiriimu. Bali ku nfuga ya waka n'essigiri z'ewaabwe ey'embuzi ekola nti kuno mwataddeko byennyanja nti abasajja ekikulu tebannasaayo musaala ey'embuzi eriibwe. Kakati abantu bali mu kukulembera waka waabwe ayagala kuwangula bwa memba bwa palamenti n'obwa kansala. Yeerabidde the grand plan to have the country managed well by all of us. Democratic Party ekyo tekyagala. Sigenda kukkiriza kukaddiwa nga njogera bwogezi ku bukulembeze. Nina obubeerako. Sigenda nze ate nze nondwawo kaddiwa. Era kyenninda bukulembeze. Omuntu yenna atudde wano tokwata ebikwate. Fe Abakatuliki batugamba tubeera ne katekisimu. Ebeeramu bibuuzo ne answer. Toyiiya. Ani yakutonda n'akussa mu nsi, Katonda ye yantonda n'andisa. Tonoonyereza. Bw'otandika mu ebyo Big Bang Theory, simanyi kakati ate bw'olaba the jigsaw fitting nti bw'olaba Zanzibar, Pemba, obwo buzinga, omanyi bwe buba obungi babuyita archipelago mu luzungu. Nti bw'obugatta bw'oti olaba nga buddayo bulungi mu Afrika. Kitegeeza ensi kyali bwe kiti mu kwetonda kyayo ebyo tobireetayo mu Bukatuliki. Katonda ye yakutonda n'akola ki? Mu byobufuzi si bwe biba. Fe mu byobufuzi tubuuza ebibuuzo, ansa nga tuzaagala, nga ne formula tugyetaaga ogimanya. Kati omuntu yenna okugamba nti 2020 bagamba 20 mwaka waliwo gujja ndowooza era ebirimu okulonda. 2026 omusajja tumutwala mubuuze ku biriwo ebigenda okukyuka ebyalemesa luli giri emyaka gyonna mbidde gye yasomye okuva 96. Awo ojja kubanga omusajja omulalu gwe batugambe yali akasuka amayinja. Naye nga buli kyakwasa agamba mbu kye yabadde agenderedde. Biba bituufu ebyo. Tulina okwogera ku gavumenti. Cooperation agreement si bwa minister na bwa member bwa parliament. Nedda. Naye tulina emitendera egy'okwagala okuzza obukulembeze mu mateeka, mu kugabana obuyinza, mu kutereeza abantu, mu kugaggawaza ebyalo, naye ng'ebyo tebisobola kukolebwa nga tetulina kye bayita tools of implementation. Tools mukimanyi? Omusajja bw'akugamba nti njagala onnimire wano nja kukuwa ssente. Tool gy'akuwa akuwa enkumbi. Mukiwulira? Ebikozesebwa mu kutereeza amateeka ga Uganda ebisookera ddala byakutereeza ssemateeka n'amateeka. Honorable Nobert Mao teyaweebwa mulimu. Naye yaweebwa nkumbi gy'abaalimisa abitandikeko ng'omusajja agamba nze ebintu ebyo nange mbyagala. Naye bano abantu bwe bagamba bikola tebakola ki? Tebabikola. Mujje mutandika obyekolera. Kye kyamutuuzizza wali si mulimu. Era reforms bikimbiwulira mu byo. Bananga abantu bafa opposition. Bulijjo boogera ebigambo ebyo naye nga ne gwe bagenda obikwasa tebamanyi kyalowooza. Babeeranga ba minisita balala. President naye tebamubuulira. Boogerera ku radio. Omanyi kati ekyasinga okwonoona kati n'okunafuya abantu. Fedda wano wonna mutumanyi kubanga twajjanga emisinde. Ndabye wano mwanyinaze abava mu branch ya IU. Branch ya UID ya IU ne Clinical Institute. Nze nasooka oziteeka wano. Myaka oba 2 emabega 15. Nga tutambula butambuzi. Ngera toyina bw'oyinza kwogera na mulala okujjako ng'omutuuseeko. Naye kati muyina amasimu, muyina WhatsApp, muvuma ne mutuyana ne mujjamu ne saati n'ogiwanika walina. Abasajja tubatta. Kakati mubeeraawo ku WhatsApp mbu mubamalawo. Ne mugenda ku radio. Kumanyi nazo nnyingi kati. Ne TV, ne mwogera era omuntu n'afuukira ddala serebu mu kubanga ayogera nnyo ku radio. Ne gwabuulira tamanyi biki byayogera. President Museveni tasobola kubanga ateekako radio 420 okuwulira bye mwogera. TV 2 awulira bye mwogera. Ate bw'amaliriza abantu 48,000 ng'ekisooka ayagala nnyo eŋŋambo. Abantu 48,000,000 zonna zibabuulire kye bamwogerako ne kye bakola ate awulirize nammwe ne WhatsApp naki. That is a waste of time.